Guys, welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. Tonight on the podcast we have Drunky, Kyle Crunk, and Zaberwolf, aka Alex. Let's introduce the guys. Gentlemen, how are we?
Hey,
Yo, yo, yo.
Hey,
what's going on?
What's up,
How's it going,
everybody? Woo! Happy Friday! Happy Friday.
my friend.
Today was a great day. I had a great day today, so very, very happy and very, very excited about starting this podcast right now.
Hell yeah.
This one's going to be a bit of a different one. I was just kind of saying to the chat there, you know, we don't really have any new content to talk about, but we're going to talk about some old movies and just shoot the shit, really, you know? And maybe just talk some rumors and talk some news from the week as well. Doesn't have to be just Marvel. We can talk Star Wars. We can talk DC. We can talk everything. So, yeah, I'm excited. How was everybody's week?
We talk about the teaser to the teaser for Batman.
Oh, bro. Yeah. So, yeah,
I hate that we live in that world now. Like, we are teasing the teasers now. Like,
a 6-second clip. And it's just Robert Pattinson just going, it's not just a signal, it's a warning.
Yeah. I blame the video game industry for this. I feel like they are the ones that started off the thing where like they'll just show one screenshot of like a date or something, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, the game's been announced." And then now the movie industry's like, "Yeah, let's get in on that because they know how to hype up their product." Remember Cyberpunk 2077? Everybody thought that was going to be a good game. Everyone did.
It was. Cyberpunk was fantastic, bro. I loved it. I don't know how you can't get through that tutorial, dude. Please give it another try for me, because
you can't get through the tutorial.
It's actually fantastic.
No, like I just speak out of not having fun.
It's insane.
He just lost interest at the tutorial.
It's so much fun, dude. It's so much fun.
The best part of the game is the intros.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't understand how you don't like it, dude. I think it's just I was immersed from the fucking first 5 minutes. You know, it was amazing.
Wake the fuck up, Kyle. We have a tutorial to finish.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, I don't know. Maybe I don't have that that cyberpunk gene in me that wants all these modifications and weirdness. I don't know. I watch other people play it, and I just remember the hype compared to what it was. It's just they weren't the same. Even if you think it's a good game, the hype compared to what the final product was, they were not the same. And that's what we're getting in the movie industry now. A lot.
I'll agree with you there. Definitely, like the game was hyped up so much, and I think most of the failure in that game was the fact that it was just full of bugs and everything. I don't think the game, the storyline was incredible. Yeah. Like the game, the baseline of the game was amazing, but just, you know, especially I feel sorry for anybody who had to play it on console. You know, it was unplayable. For me, any bugs that I found in the game, they made me laugh, and I kind of just saw comedy value in them and just moved on, you know. Whereas, you know, a lot of people had some really bad glitches, which maybe ruined some immersion for them. But for me, you know, the game was weird, but I think I was enjoying it so much that all the weird stuff it didn't matter to me, because I needed to find out what happened with Johnny Silverhand and stuff like that. It was just for me, it was incredible. Loved it.
I just like boning Johnny Silverhand's old girlfriend. That's my favorite.
That was great. I got a really funny notification when that happened on my stream as well. Yeah, it was brilliant. It was like a perfectly timed notification that came in. Like it completely ruined the scene, but it was just so funny. It was brilliant. How's Alan Wake going?
I am like at the end of it. I think I have another 10 minutes of the game left.
Oh no!
I had to come to the podcast, man. You know what I mean? Like I was
priorities,
like, no!
baby, priorities.
Yeah. So it's a good game. It's a good game overall. I think the last episode of it, episode 6, has been the worst. Just because like it's not fun gameplay. I'm just like trying to get through it to finish the story.
Right.
So it's just like okay. So, but overall, it's a pretty good. The remaster looks great. You know, it doesn't look. You know, when they say remastered, I think they got to come up with another word, because this doesn't look like 2021 graphics. You know what I mean?
I noticed that. Yeah, when I was watching you play it, I'm like, is this isn't like, you know, next gen like engines and stuff like that, you know? It's not like the best it can be, but I think it's just a rework maybe would be a more fitting word for it, or facelift or something. Yeah, where it's like they're just building on the same mechanics without changing the game too much, like, because otherwise they gotta basically make a whole new game, and I can't imagine they're doing that.
Yeah, yeah, they're just like trying to update the graphics as much as can without breaking the engine.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm like, they gotta come up with another word, because when you hear remastered, like if you were to get like Lord of the Rings remastered, like you are like 4K high def, seeing like the nose hairs on Gandalf, you know, like it is like they bring it when they do remasters in movies, and so they're trying to co-opt that terminology, and it's just like, this isn't like remastered. Like remastered to what? So it's a bummer, but overall the game's cool. I've never played it before. You know, it's a survival horror thing. It's cool. I enjoy it.
Yeah, like a fantastic example of a remaster is Crash Bandicoot.
Yes,
when they did a remaster of that.
Fantastic.
Oh my god,
I love playing those remasters. They're actually amazing.
It's so
I've been
good.
enjoying Diablo 2 on the Switch a lot. More than the
yeah,
PC.
you have decided you've been playing that a lot.
More than the PC, because like on the PC, like Diablo 2, you had to hotkey all the abilities because you can only have like one ability at once. But on the Switch, since you know you're kind of a little handicapped from not being on a full PC, they let you use all like the buttons for the binding, so you can kind of use multi. It kind of opens up almost a different play style.
So it's like almost like a shift kind of command, like you shift and then you have other abilities.
Well, like yeah, like on PC when you're playing Diablo 2, only one ability can be like slotted in the thing at a time.
Right.
So you have to hotkey swap to it on the console, since you have, you know, the buttons, all those are already bound at once. So pressing it just cast it instead of swapping it and then casting.
Gotcha.
It's a lot more fun.
Oh yeah.
Drunky needs to find his Switch because he's gonna beat Metroid Dread. I watched Alex actually do the
Is
final
that Switch?
boss,
Is that
like,
Switch only, that game?
Metroid
for Metroid Dread?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was watching you stream it, Alex, and I thought you were playing on PC. I didn't even know you were on a Switch.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it actually is. It's
Like, it's a
impressive, dude.
fantastic game.
I thought you were playing that on PC. Like, that's very impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Average Joe in the chat says, did you hear the rumor that Insomniac are making a Doctor Strange game? Kyle, calm down. Take it easy. Do not explode here, sir.
I know the rumors out there that they're working on other Marvel game. I don't know. I never heard it was Doctor Strange though.
I mean, that'd be fantastic if it was.
I want to do all the magic.
Yeah.
I need this game.
I want to swirl.
Yeah.
And it's so fitting because we just
Teleport.
watched the movie.
And they're doing there's a Midnight Suns game coming out as well, so and he is confirmed to be in that, so oh my god, Kyle's freaking out here.
It's so good. Oh,
your camera kind of freaked out there for a second. It's okay down now.
Bro,
it's
that
okay.
rage. I saw that.
Did you see it? It was like it looped you for a second.
I was looking at all the possibilities of the Doctor Strange game. It's gonna be good. All 14 million possibilities. Sorry, I was like glitching out there for a second. I had to.
He was freaking out at the news.
I was looking at the eye.
He started looping.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't see his hands. His hands were like doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I was doing the
oh my god, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Midnight Suns game. Obviously, the Wolverine game is going to be great. Spider-Man 2. Guardians game. There's so much good like Marvel shit coming out game-wise as well. Like, I know we're an MCU podcast, but hey, this is relevant, I suppose. But yeah, absolutely, like really looking forward to it. And some of the rumors that I've heard today, which I don't know if we'll talk about them after. I think maybe we would talk about the movies first. But some of the rumor stuff that I've heard is very interesting towards Doctor Strange and Midnight Suns and stuff like that as well. So, hell yeah.
Love it.
So,
Love it.
what movie do you want to talk about first?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
The
So
more...
good.
Who?
Like,
you go first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go first.
No.
I'm
sitting here now.
It's the round table. You got to start first.
It is the round table, but all I was going to say is each time I watch this film, for me, it gets better. And it's just, yeah, I don't know. It gets just little subtle things that are just very funny. Like, the more I watch it, the more I actually like start to like Ned more and everything, like, you know. But yeah, Drunky, you go ahead. I'll say some words after.
Like when I go to watch Homecoming, right? Like I kind of think about the way we feel about Spider-Man now after not just, you know, his movies, but like he's been in Endgame and you know, he's gone to outer space and stuff, and everyone kind of calls him like Tony Stark Jr., like Iron Boy, kind of like a joke with him. But I take myself back to Homecoming, and it's like This was when we got Spider-Man back to into the MCU, and like they named it Homecoming because of that. Where it's like we all had a big sigh of relief because we felt like Sony had mucked up Spider-Man for so long that finally he was getting like the MCU treatment proper from Marvel, who understood the character. And like when you go to watch the movie, I mean, they really do nail it, don't they? Like they nail Spider-Man in this, you know, when he's outside of like a very early Spider-Man, like outside of the city. You know, Michael Keaton turns in like just a fantastic Michael Keaton performance that's over the top and just like so good. Him playing Vulture is probably my favorite MCU villain I can think of, because he might not be the strongest, but the way he played it and the way they revealed it to Peter going through the film, like this film
that was fantastic.
So good, man. Like
you have to add in that apparently on set, in between takes, Michael Keaton would lean into Tom Holland and go, "I'm Batman," and then they would do their take.
He's a legend, bro. And every time I see the reveal, it takes me back to that first time I saw it in the cinema, and like I was in shock because I just didn't see it coming at all. Because like, you know, she's kind of like a light-skinned girl, and you just wouldn't expect her to be the father, like him to be the father at all. It's just such a great twist. Like I'm like, oh my god, they just nailed it so well.
They nailed the scene where like that car ride, that awkward car ride. They just nailed that. Like he knows,
so good.
And they both know, and they're just sitting there. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So good. It's incredible. And like I love that, like that whole scene's amazing to me, because I just love like Keaton's acting in it. He's sitting in the front seat and he's kind of looking back to the rearview mirror and he's talking to him, and you can see him slowly put it all together. And then he's, you know, when he hears that he didn't go up into the elevator, it's just you know, it's like, oh, I'm so thankful Spider-Man was there that day. And you're just like, he knows. Oh shit, he knows. Like it's fucking brilliant. Oh, it's so good.
And not playing that dumb villain role where like no one catches on that like he's Spider-Man. You know, it's like he gets it. Like he's smart. He understands that. Yeah, I'm gonna take that jump and like he is Spider-Man, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Oh no, it's great.
That, and I love that Vulture was so like the leader of the group, that he literally accidentally killed Shocker and then made a new Shocker.
Yeah.
That was so great. He's like, I thought this was the gravity gun.
Yeah. Yeah, he just I love that he points at the gun. He's like, does this thing work? And your man's like, I think so. Yeah, go. Yeah. I actually love him as a little side character as well. You know, and he's like, your wife's texting you and stuff. He's like, what do I say about being on my phone? And he's like, I'm a very intrusive person. You know this about me, you know?
You can't leave things around me. Like, that makes it okay. Like,
yeah. He's just like, this is who I am. Like, and you know this. Like, you know, why are you giving it?
And you know, him being the leader of that gang, probably the most believable.
It's realistic.
Pathetic, like
it's realistic, yeah.
And like you feel for him, you're like, yeah, why wouldn't you if you got screwed over this much? And they make, you know, they don't shine a great light on the Avengers and the stuff that goes on in the MCU.
Yeah.
And like these are the unintended consequences of everything that goes on with Tony Stark's, you know, his whole, you know, the story of Tony Stark. Everything he does comes back to bite him, right? Yeah. And this is something he did that goes back to bite, you know, kind of technically like his son, like his protege. Yeah. It's like it's a full circle, you know, another one of those full circle stories that surrounds Tony Stark coming back to Spider-Man. I love the group, the villainous group. They're awesome.
It's fantastic. Yeah. I love the line. I love the line in it as well. You know, where they're watching the news and, you know, they're like, oh, the guy who caused this is now getting paid to clean it up. Like, it's just something that would really probably happen, you know, if there was, you know, if there was some sort of disaster like that, you know, the person involved would be getting paid to clean it up. Like, you know, it's ridiculous. Like, but it's very real. Did you notice as well? It was one thing I noticed when I first saw the movie and it drove me crazy. When they do the whole intro scene with Vulture and everything, they cut to a text on the screen and it's like 8 years later. And I remember thinking to myself when I saw it, I was like, 8 years? I'm like, hang on a second, what? Like, this movie came out in 2017. I'm like, why are we in like 2020? And they fucked up the timeline. Did you hear? Yeah. You know about this, yeah? So now they've actually taken it out of the film, so they don't have that 8 years later now, because later on in the movies, Tony Stark references New York, and he said, 6 years ago when we were in New York or something, and he basically debunks it himself. So
retcons it.
Yeah, they made such a mess up with that. I can't believe that was in the theatrical release for the film. It was crazy.
Sony probably laughed their way to the bank with that one.
Yeah.
Ever since Sharky said that, I feel like there's got to be like I'm in a search for like these slight little things that Sony and Marvel are gonna do to each other. Ever since you put that idea in the air, Drunky, like I want it. I want it.
Oh,
the canon war where like you said, oh, do you think they asked permission for that?
Yeah, real quick.
Venom?
I don't think we talked about it in the podcast. Just a real quick sidebar. There's a theory going around that the end of the end scene in Venom where he sees Tom Holland, or spoilers, he sees
Oh,
you know,
hang
Tom
on. I
Holland.
got a screen for that. Hang on. Oh, no.
Oh yeah, spoilers real quick, everyone.
Yeah, sorry.
Everyone, if you haven't seen Venom 2,
My stinger's playing. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
You good?
Terrible production.
All right, so Venom sees Tom Holland, like basically it shows that Venom has entered the MCU's multiverse somehow. Some way he's in the multiverse, and he sees Tom Holland on the TV screen. And you're like, oh, that's crazy. There's a rumor going around, or a conspiracy theory, that Sony really didn't have permission or ask permission at all. They didn't care, and they just threw that at the end of Venom because they don't have to have permission to use any of the footage from Spider-Man because they own it. Like Disney and Marvel are just producing it, and they actually own it. And so that's the theory, that they just like.
I mean,
I
would love
forcing
that.
their way in.
I would love
just
that
taking
too.
jabs at each other
I
too.
would love that too, and it kind of, in a way, it adds up because, like Andy Serkis and all these people were asked so many times, like, you know, is there any kind of Spider-Man content or anything in the movie, and even like very close to where they probably could have said, look, you know, it's coming, and you know, they've always kind of said no, it's not, and all this stuff. Like, but I do know that there was a scene with Tom Holland shot for the first movie, and Marvel and Kevin Feige and stuff did get them to stop it from being put into the movie. So there seems to be some power that Marvel have the other way around. So yeah, I don't know, like, because they, like, Tom Holland shot a scene. You know, he shot a scene for the first film, and Marvel did have the power to turn around and say, no, we're not putting this in the movie.
I wonder if it was that they had the power to say we're not doing it, or they just like negotiated and said, hey, we'll give you this, like, you know, we're gonna do this and bring it, like, you know what I mean, kind of back and forth.
Yeah, that probably makes more
man,
sense.
just so damn funny, bro. That's a real thing, you know.
Did you guys see that little short clip? Did you guys see that little short with Tom Hardy and I think it was like Tom Hardy, Andy Serkis, and they were asking him, like, is Venom going to be in the Spider-Man movie, or is Tom Holland like going to be showing up like among Venom? And they're like, oh, no, of course not. And then you see like Tom Hardy kind of inch over a little bit, and then it closes up on his face, and he goes,
yeah, he does the little eyebrow shrug. I did see it. Yeah, it's very good, very good. Yeah, they're messers, like, you know, they know exactly what they're doing. And again, it's all fucking marketing tactics, like the movie. The movie only came out today in Ireland, and I went on to try and book tickets. I was a bit late. I was very busy this week. I didn't get a chance. I went on today to book tickets for tomorrow night, and I can't get tickets to the show tomorrow. They're selling out screens for this movie here.
Really?
15 days after it's been released, and it's being like slated on the internet, and it's still selling out. It's crazy.
It's not even good.
I know, it's crazy. Like I'm like for fuck's sake, I have to wait till next weekend to see this movie now. This shit movie now.
It's so bad, it's good.
It's so bad, it's doing great. Yeah, I think, like, you know, Tom Hardy's obviously, you know, he's an English guy, so he's close enough to Ireland. Like, I think a lot of people just support him because of, you know, the nationality or whatever, and you know, he's close to home really, and I think a lot of people would just go to see a film because Tom Hardy's in it. Like, you know, there's a lot of Tom Hardy fans around here because, you know, he's in Peaky Blinders and all that sort of thing. So
it's almost like he's a fantastic actor.
I was just thinking of that show. I want that Irish actor, the main actor from Peaky Blinders. I want him in the MCU.
I've seen a lot of fan castings for him now as Doom.
Oh, he'd play a good Doom. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fan casting going around for him as Doom now. So I think that would be pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, you're talking about Cillian Murphy?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, he's a legend, bro. He's
one
of our best
right?
exports. I don't think they have someone cast now.
No, I'm saying when we did our fan castings, like, you know, like,
we did Doom for that.
Yeah, I think one of us had him.
Did we?
I feel like we did.
It wasn't
crazy.
I may have had him
somewhere.
I may have had him for a different role, just because he's Irish.
Yeah,
I'd
love
love
that
to see him
dude.
in it.
Mm.
Was his first really breakout role Scarecrow? Is that what put him on the map?
28 Days Later, I think, was his big one. His big break.
28 Days Later? I don't know. I'm gonna have to rewatch that. I have to watch all zombie movies alone because Meech doesn't do zombies.
Main actor, bro. Main actor in 28 Days. He's so young in it as well.
And it's so convenient that you just watched it.
We watched 28 Weeks. Yeah.
Oh, you watched 28 Weeks. So
Yeah,
I thought
we
you
were
were
watching-
watching 28 Days.
Yeah, no,
And
no,
his
it
role
was
is
28 Weeks.
Scarecrow. He was like this close to getting Batman,
Yeah.
and they went with
Yeah.
Christian Bale instead.
Christopher Nolan loved him so much in the audition that he's like, I need to create a role and put him in the movie.
Yeah.
So that's why they put Scarecrow in that film.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He
how
almost got Christian Bale's Batman?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
which I think he would play better. I didn't think Christian Bale was that good of a Bruce Wayne.
Where is he?
Yeah.
Where is he?
We know, bro. We know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm look, I think, you know, if you put like if you were to put like Ben Affleck in those movies, like those movies would have been fire. Like I think the movies were going to be an almighty success no matter what. They were just such powerful movies that it didn't really matter who was Batman. Whereas if you were to throw Christian Bale into like the Snyderverse, I think it would have been a fucking disaster. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, probably. Yep.
Yeah, so I think that like whoever was in the suit for those movies was just protected by just the greatness of those films.
Yeah.
I just can't get over the Dark Knight. It's one of the greatest movies ever made.
You guys seen that the thing that Michael Caine was actually supposed to have a line of dialogue when Heath Ledger first walks in, and you can see in the final cut of the movie like he is so shook by like Heath Ledger's makeup and stuff that you see him standing there like this, like he's going to say something, and he just never got his dialogue out because he was like shook.
He was
and
terrified.
They left it in. Yeah, they left it in.
He was legit terrified. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he could not.
When
He could not.
when he walks into that dinner party or whatever.
Yeah,
if you look at it slow, he's like
It was
he's going to say
genuine fear.
something, and he just like
Yeah.
He had not seen Heath Ledger the entire time until that scene.
Yeah. Ledger owned that, and I think he will forever own that role. I don't think anyone's ever going to overtake him in that role.
everyone's always comparing.
That's him for the rest of the time, I think.
I mean, you say that, but that's what they said about Nicholson. You know what I mean? And then Heath Ledger like showed up like that.
True.
Yeah.
So
I suppose we did get,
And it- but
we did get Jared Leto, I suppose.
Well, yeah, but it like Jared Leto though. Like I don't know how much time they gave him, or even if that was the possible role that he like. I feel like they screwed it up so badly because they wanted to modernize it.
Yeah. Let's
And it's-
let's
and
make
it's
him a
so
rapper.
harsh.
You know.
It's so weird. That J on his cheek.
He just looked like a rapper. Like he looked like 6ix9ine or one of these rappers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but he's in the DC universe. It was laughable, bro. I hated every second of it.
should they do a Batman where they take it back to like the 1960s or something like that, or like the 1950s? It seemed a little bit more plausible.
I'd like that, and if they did like a kind of Red Hood story of it, like, you know, the first Joker becoming the Joker from the Red Hood and stuff, I think that would be really cool. I think Joaquin Phoenix did an amazing job. Book of Rush in the chat section. Joaquin actually matched Heat.
Joaquin
and I
did
think
really well.
I don't think he was as good, but he was definitely up there. And I love I love the idea of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker not actually being the real Joker, but him inspiring the actual Joker, so they could actually technically use that movie as an origin story and maybe bring a sequel about and introduce, like, say, Robert Pattinson's Joker to be in the same universe, but like 20 years later, and he's inspired by Joaquin's character or something like that. I think there's a couple of very clever ways to bring that movie into whatever canon DC are trying to go forward with, you know.
I mean, I think that's how it started the beginning of Batman, right? Like in terms of the ending, you see that the riot's going on, and then there's this thug that goes in the alley, and then you see, I think I swear it was like Bruce and his mother and father like were in the alley and they got shot. I could have sworn that was part of the ending. And then he was taken. Yeah, and then he was taken. It was during the riots.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh yeah, like there was a like there was a separate guy that went in the alley with him.
Yeah,
not Joaquin's.
Yeah,
I do remember something about that. I've actually only watched that movie the one time. I do need to rewatch it at some point because it is fantastic. Like a lot of people are really obsessed with that movie. You know, it hit a lot of people very hard, and a lot of people worship it.
Well, and considering that it's standalone, I think that's why we didn't really mention Joaquin as like compared to like the other Jokers.
Yeah, I don't.
Because,
if you guys didn't say, I don't even think of him as playing the Joker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just such a different role.
He's not really a Joker, like, you know. So that's kind of why, like, he's not like a canon like comic character. Like, it's kind of someone else that they just kind of. It's kind of like a B story, really, or like an inspiration or something. But it's Fantastic film. Fantastic film.
Yep.
What's his name?
And
Robert
really, I
Robert
think
Robert
shows
De
the
Niro was
strength-
brilliant in it as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah.
shows the strength of DC's brand and what they can actually do
Yeah.
that the Marvel and the MCU can't, because Marvel's strength is how connected everything is. DC, if they just went the other direction, like I think they're starting to do now, it's just like, yeah, we're gonna do like one-offs with our characters or whatever.
Yeah.
Now you know the character, you know the brand of the character, but like we're gonna tell a different story with that.
Yeah.
And because it's kind of siloed off, like we can do that.
Yeah.
And like that's why Joker, and they just left him. They left the guy alone. They left the director alone. They left Joaquin alone, and just let him go make this like weird movie. And it was like one of the biggest hits they've ever had. I think maybe the biggest.
I think
Like-
this is their plan with the new Batman movie as well. You know, like that Joker film was just so dark and like very violent, and it just works. Shit like that works. Like there's such an audience for like adult comic book fans. You know what I mean? All of us, people of our generation, like we don't really grow up like our parents did. You know, like my dad stopped watching cartoons when he was a kid. Like, that's just the way it was back then. Whereas now we all kind of don't grow up. So, there's a lot of 20, 30, 40-year-olds that will go to the cinema and watch a Joker or a Batman movie, and it's just different to the way it was. So I think DC are starting to understand that there is an adult market and they need to cater for it. And the new Batman looks like it's going to be vicious. Like, he's talking about warnings, and he's beating people's heads in and everything, like, I am justice. So I think like that's going to be like a Deadpool style, like just full of violence and everything, and I think it's going to be really, really good. And I think DC need to just stick with that. They need to do like the Justice League Dark and all this like fucking trippy shit, like start making nearly like horror movies and stuff, and I think that'll sell really, really well. Because like even like look at Deadpool, like in the MCU, it's still gonna cater to so many people. Obviously Disney need to worry about all the kids, so they can't branch off completely. Although Doctor Strange 2 is technically labeled as a horror film. If you look it up online, it says the movie label on it is horror. So it's going to be interesting to see what Disney can do and label something or rate something horror. It'll be very interesting.
I mean, they could do that with Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
because that could be very dark and even brooding at times, and it could be scary.
If they're not doing it with Blade, I doubt they'll do it with Ghost Rider.
Yeah, but Ghost Rider would be the safer route, considering that he could just turn them into char.
True. Yeah,
they don't have to bleed.
Yeah. While we're talking about this, I just want to mention one quick rumor that I heard today. So apparently, rumor has it. This is not a spoiler; it's a rumor. Rumor has it that John Bernthal's Punisher is going to appear in the Moon Knight show, and this is going to lead to Midnight Suns. Midnight Suns is going to have Strange, Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, fucking Punisher, Blade. Blade's also been rumored as well for an intro there. So we're going to get a dark kind of rated R team, and it's going to be all the bad boys. Like, it's going to be interesting.
That'd be crazy, man.
And
Hopefully they do it right.
It makes a lot of sense as well that they're releasing a Midnight Suns game, which will come out before this show. So it kind of gives people a taste of who these characters are and how a team up of these people would work. Seeing like Wanda and Doctor Strange and Moon Knight and all these people working together. Like if you play as them in a game, and then it's going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to this game was good, you enjoyed it, bang, here's a show about it. Like, starring all the people you love. It's going to be crazy.
I mean, if you want to talk about since you just mentioned a rumor, Adam Warlock casting, did you guys see that this week?
That's confirmed. That's not a rumor. That is confirmed.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm pretty sure it's confirmed.
It is.
That William Poulter. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Poulter, I think. I'm not too sure
Poulter?
I'm not sure what his surname is, but
Poultier. I don't know.
He was in We're the Millers.
Yeah. What do you think of this casting? I was gonna talk about this during the other news segment, but let's talk about it now. What do you think of the casting? Do you like it? Yay or nay?
He seems kind of young.
He does seem kind of young, but I think like when you bulk someone up a little bit, you put some muscle on them, and they'll probably have a lot of makeup on him. To be honest with you,
he'll be like gold, won't he?
Right. And maybe they want him young. Maybe they do want him young so that he can be around for a little bit, because he is kind of a main staple around a lot of stories. So maybe they want just a younger guy. He's getting birthed out of whatever canoe he's in, whatever the thing is in Guardians.
Yeah.
And so it makes more sense for him to look a little young in that. We'll see. It could be terrible. It could be amazing. I trust James Gunn wholeheartedly because that guy's, he's got the golden touch right now. No pun intended. With
I think it's his last. I think it's his last movie though, and it kind of scares me in a way because he said in an interview, he's like, "I just killed everybody in the Suicide Squad. Now I'm going to go over to DC and kill everyone in the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then just bail." Like, he has like kind of 2 little projects with them, both Guardians movies, and then he's done. So I'm kind of scared at the same time, like, that maybe he might just kind of do something crazy that might not work in the scheme of things. Now I know Kevin Feige is probably involved in all the major decisions, but at the same time he might just do something crazy. Yeah,
yeah, that looks just like him.
It kind of does, but he looks a lot older, like when he's drawn and stuff. And I suppose,
I mean,
it is what it is.
You put eyeshadow on him, you give him like a stern
put all
look, you know
kinds
what
of
I
makeup.
mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I'm not really a fan of, and I can't take full credit for this because I did hear somebody else talk about it, but I'm kind of rehashing a little. But kind of the way the MCU have kind of turned Thor into a bit of a like comedic kind of presence in the MCU. Like, Thor's supposed to be a god. He's supposed to be a feared character. Like, he's supposed to be like the mighty Thor. And now he's kind of just there. Anytime he's on screen, there's comedy, there's like slapstick humor, everything. And what kind of worries me is like Adam Warlock is meant to be this like absolute badass, and they've hired a dude to play him who is only known in Hollywood for comedy. So it's like, and again, it's James Gunn is very focused on comedy as well at the moment, and like that's kind of his pitch. So the thing that is kind of worrying is this dude, he might do an amazing performance, but is he going to just change the core character to be another kind of funny guy that we don't really need in the MCU? Like, they can pull off a lot of comedy with serious characters. Like, they're well able to do it. I don't think they need to go changing the core of characters like they have done with Thor. Like, Thor's just a jokester now, like, really. Like,
Yeah.
And I just...
He was always kind of very serious like Odin was to him. That's how he was to everybody else. Like,
yeah, and now he's just... Yeah, I don't know. Like, he's... Like, every line that comes out of Chris Hemsworth's mouth now is nearly, like, slapstick and stuff. Like, it's kind of...
I think what really turned it down was the fact that the fans or like the environment did not like the Dark World, because that was like a dark setting that had a lot of like brooding. It had a lot of sad moments, upset moments. Think like very very like serious and intense feelings, and it didn't bode well for the community apparently, even though it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah,
and then you see. God, I can't remember the third movie already. Ragnarok. When you see Ragnarok, it's just all jokes, and I'm thinking it's because of the Dark World bombing amongst the peers that they thought, well, okay, well, I guess Thor works better as a funny guy, and from that point, they decided to work with that, and that's why we have Party Thor from What If.
Terrible.
It's so bad.
I think you're right on with that, and I don't mind a little humor coming out in the MCU, but like I always thought Thor was better and funnier when the things he said were funny because he was so serious about it, right? Like he didn't get how ridiculous it was that he was saying some of the stuff.
Yeah,
it was almost like Drax.
More. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Almost like Drax.
Yeah.
I will say with this kid playing Adam Warlock, maybe he is going to be a really straight. Play it real serious, real straight, because I think one of the things in comedy, like a lot of the times you'll go back and see with these comedy teams, the real genius and the real hilarious person was actually the person who played this straight comedian.
Yeah,
and like the real serious one, because they got to understand on a whole other level, because they got to understand what's going on with both of them, not just landing punchlines. So like maybe they thought like, hey, we want to hire somebody who is real funny, and just have him play it straight, because they want somebody who can interact with like Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista, and understand like how their humor works and know the timing of it for scenes.
Yeah. Average Joe in the chat there just mentioned that he wasn't the funny guy in Maze Runner, and I'll be honest, I haven't seen Maze Runner, so I've
We
although
found the one person who watched
Yeah.
Maze Runner.
yeah,
He's in our
I
chat.
I haven't
I've seen Maze Runner. He's all right in that movie.
I haven't seen the movie, but I've heard his performance in that movie is actually very good. So,
Mm.
yeah, I've never been kind of pushed to watch those movies, but
And
maybe I
and
will.
it's not to say that their casting is wrong. It's just we don't know what to expect right now.
Well, I'll always come back to count on your fingers how many wrong castings Marvel have had.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You'll do it on one hand, I'm sure.
I'll do it on
They
one
see
finger.
Yeah.
They see the bigger picture.
Yeah, the casting team are legendary for Marvel. I think there's one. I think there's maybe one, and I can't even really.
Yeah, right, bro. We all know you secretly hate Falcon. You hate Sam.
I know. I actually like Anthony.
Secretly.
I like Anthony Mackie as an actor. So
I mean, it must be a secret if he's trying to hide it right now.
no, there's no secrets about it. I hate Falcon as a character, but I don't mind Anthony Mackie as an actor. At all.
Is it Mantis?
Who?
I knew it
Is
was
it Mantis?
Knew it.
Mantis. I think it's crazy too that like we like. Do you think he's going to be introduced in Guardians 3, or do you think they're going to tease him in like the Christmas special? Because we still got 2 things coming out from James Gunn.
I think
the Christmas
he'll
special.
be in the special. I think.
Do you think
Yeah.
he's kind of taken over the role that Silver Surfer's supposed to be taking over as like the Herald of Galactus, since they can't do Silver Surfer?
No, I think eventually they will be able to do Silver Surfer. It's
I thought
just
Fox had that
like it.
locked down.
Did they not
No.
get? Did they not
what?
They
get?
have Fox.
Yeah, they have Fox. I was going to say, did they not get
Oh.
Silver Surfer
Yeah.
with
I
Fantastic
thought
Four?
that's why we're gonna get the mutants.
I swear to God, we've gone over this like 4 times.
Bro, I know we have. Every time you guys say it, I'm like, oh yeah, we got Fox.
Yeah, Fox.
I also
Fox.
am watching old comics explain videos, and I think he just mentioned because I went through like Secret Wars 1 and 2, and yeah, I didn't realize that Silver Surfer is really a huge part that we've kind
Yeah.
of
Oh,
missed
bro.
out on, even probably up until now. We probably missed out on some of it.
Very high power level in the MCU, like Silver Surfer. Like he's like a force to be reckoned
Because he's
with.
the one that's supposed to crash down and warn. Like, I didn't know he's the one that, instead of the Hulk crashing into the Doctor Strange mansion into the steps, it's supposed to be Silver Surfer.
It's supposed to be
It's like-
Silver Surfer. Yep.
Yeah.
They didn't have him at the time, so toss the big green guy down there and be like, he's coming.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm waiting to see Silver Surfer in like some Avengers post credit scene. Like he just like you just see him showing up and like the Earth comes into the the scene like it's a
And
Star
then
Wars.
just
you
the
know?
surfboard,
How they
dude,
pan
just the
down. He
surfboard.
just
yeah, just like a bullet just coming straight for the Earth. Like, that'd be sweet as fuck, dude. I'd love it.
I'm also very excited to see how the CGI is going to fare for this, because I don't remember when Rise of the Silver Surfer came around, but it's been, I think, at least
Early
over a
2000s.
decade now.
Oh yeah, I think that
It
was
was
like
like early
2000.
2000s.
That was like 2007 maybe or something like that.
I thought it was like
So-
2003, 2004.
I know
So the
that.
CG,
I think the first
so
one.
the CGI.
Oh, I think the first
Sorry,
one
go
came out in like 2005. So I think this second one. Someone look it up.
Silver Surfer.
Rise of the Silver
So the CGI
Surfer.
should be like fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Like,
it'd be
2007. You're damn Finto, touche. All
I'm so fucking good, bro. It's not even funny.
right, well,
That's
guess the
really-
actual date.
Oh no, I wouldn't be able to guess the
know-
date. Summertime, I'm gonna say one of the summer months.
It was in June.
Yeah, of course.
I know we're bringing up like Doctor Strange for the Insomniac game or whatever. I was hoping it was going to be Fantastic Four would be the Insomniac game for them to tackle that family and
Don't listen.
I'll-
Don't take this away from me.
Is this Strange thing official, or are we still? Is it still just rumor mill?
I mean, it's definitely rumor mill. They're, I wouldn't expect an actual announcement until Wolverine gets launched, or the next Spider-Man game. But
Buckle-
the only
Buckle Brush, they
confirmed
had-
thing is, or close to confirm, is that they're working on another Marvel IP.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the only thing I've heard close to confirmed. But I don't know who's the set on. I was really hoping for Fantastic Four.
I think it's possible. I think it's a really good way to intro kind of new characters for a lot of the new fans. Think about kids that are like 14, 15 years old now, they probably haven't seen those original Fantastic Four movies or anything like that, or any of the old content. Like, there hasn't really been Fantastic Four content in a long time. Like, I know they kind of tried to reboot the movie, like in what, 2014 or something like that. But Jesus,
Rough.
I don't think anybody watched that movie. Like, it was
I watched
awful, awful.
Sharky said I watched it.
Oh,
You
no,
also watched
I
Venom too.
did watch it. It was terrible. There isn't a superhero movie that I won't watch, but it's yeah, I don't know. Booker Brush,
Yeah,
Booker Brush said that Silver Surfer was in Terminator 2.
They have the technology.
He's just like coming through a prison gate, like
Yeah.
Galactus is coming.
I'll be on my way now.
Oh man, a funny little tidbit about Terminator 2 for like the T-1000. The guy, I can't remember his name, but like the guy who like did exercises to do like proper breathing for when he's running. And when they were doing the shoots, they actually had to stop the shoots at certain times because he was faster than the car.
Oh my god! Wow,
He was running. He was actually catching up to the car.
that's
It's a
incredible.
problem a lot of us have.
That's incredible, dude.
What a beast.
Yeah.
We kind of
Then,
moved off. We kind of moved off Spider-Man
yeah.
there. I was about to say so.
Let's have a nice homecoming back to
Yeah, let's
to the
come
original topic.
let's come back to Homecoming. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's a lot I like about Homecoming. Like, I can't really find too many faults with it.
Tom really just he nails the idea of like it's kind of a joke looking at him that he's supposed to be playing a 15-year-old. Like visually looking at him, but his acting, like there's so many scenes like when he's trapped under that rubble and stuff.
Yeah,
like I really
And
felt
he's,
like he was a
squirming.
kid in that moment. Yeah,
That's fantastic
like,
acting. Yeah,
he
fantastic.
puts this great teenage Peter Parker energy out there. And the only complaint I think I'd have of the entire movie, and I don't know why they did it, is why Mary Jane is named Michelle. She's Michelle, and then my friends call me MJ.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard rumors that like she's
I
not
don't
the
know why
real
they
she's
don't.
not the real MJ. Like, we're actually going to meet Mary Jane Watson at some point. So she's actually not MJ. She's not the MJ. So I think that's interesting.
I don't know what they're doing with that. I think that's one thing that each one of the Spider-Man franchises tries to do differently, and it's kind of weird and messed up. Like, they even try to kind of poke fun of it in this one when he's hanging upside down. They're like, kiss her, and then he doesn't. It's like that Spider-Man classic kiss scene.
Yeah.
But then like you go into the Amazing Spider-Man, they have the Gwen Stacy love storyline, and it's like they're always swapping up how they're doing his romantic interest. I think it's one of those things that they kind of focus too much on and maybe fumble a little bit every time in the movies, because it's like they're trying to. I don't know why that's the thing that they want to have their unique mark on, is the romantic side of it, but I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. I kind of like it, Like, I like he's a kid. Like, he's 15. He's in school. You're obsessed with girls when you're in school at that age, and you just want to have a girlfriend or whatever, or a boyfriend, and you just like that's all you think about. Like, is just like trying to hook up. Like, so for him, like he's kind of fascinated by a few of the girls in his class. He's not really.
No, I get why
he's
he
not
does it in the movie. I'm just
Yeah.
not sure why the writing is catered towards why they had to make it like why they couldn't have made her like they try to make it unique in their own way for each of these Spider-Man movies. Like,
Yeah.
She's not Mary Jane. She's Michelle. Like you said, then we might see an actual Mary Jane going forward.
Yeah.
But then again, why have they added this like layer of kind of like deceiving us a little bit to think this is the real? Like, why are they trying to make this the thing that's unique and stands out? I don't know.
My guess is, this isn't a like official answer, but my guess is the fact that they probably wanted her in the movie, the actress Zendaya or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
I would say they wanted her in the movie more than anything else, and they probably didn't even have the original pitch of actually it being MJ until the very end. Whereas, like, they'll probably write the story in and it's like, oh, let's just call her MJ, and then like people will be like, oh my god, this is MJ, but like really it's not her. It's not the same character at all, because like even his love interest isn't even MJ in that film. So it kind of is just like, oh, this is MJ, and then he'll kind of grow up and like be attached to her. I just think it's kind of like just a kind of play or a nod to the original character, but they can't, like, I don't think that they could recast or like change like the appearance of Mary Jane Watson that much to like do like a complete like kind of race swap and everything like that. Like, you know, it's a for a character like Mary Jane Watson, I think it's a very bold step to change her that much, you know what I mean? So I think it's very clever the way they've done it, because it's like, oh, this is just different universe, different Peter Parker, so it's a different MJ, but it's not actually Mary Jane Watson. Like, I think it's very clever.
Yeah, and I would kind of like piggyback off that and say this whole movie was about the Marvel showing everybody that they know how to do the characters and the franchises better than anyone else, right? And if they have a MJ show up who doesn't have red hair, the entire internet was going to melt down and be like, bro, this isn't MJ. She needs red hair.
True.
What the hell is this? So I think it's, you know, part of them proving that, you know, hey, we know how to do this. We know who the characters are and who they aren't. And kind of, you know, to Kyle's point about, you know, the uniqueness, whatever, like trying to make all these different Spider-Mans feel more unique. I thought one of the things that Marvel did brilliantly, and now it's something that superhero movies do all the time, it's where they don't tell the backstory anymore. It's like, you know who Spider-Man is. You know he got bit by a spider. You know he has power. Like, you know Uncle Ben died. Like, you know all this already because we've rebooted this thing. And this was like the first superhero movie that skipped all that. It was just like, you know who this person is.
Yeah.
We're going to jump in and like run with it. And you're just got to keep up. And it worked brilliantly for Homecoming because it didn't feel slow at all. They were able to get right into it and get right into a new story. And like you are committed to it because of that. And now, you know, we're talking about how they can go back to that and be like, well, what's going on with Uncle Ben? They got a story they can tell there, right? So I don't know. I thought that, you know, now it's kind of commonplace and we kind of take it for granted. But back then, man, that was really bold by Marvel to take that down. And
because it was the low hanging fruit to tell that was like 30 minutes of free content that they had for every movie. Like, we'll give you 30 minutes of how he got bit and figuring out his power. And like you said, that was very risky, and it was a bold strategy to just not even do that and be like, listen, you guys know what it is. It's Spider-Man. And let's get to the story building, the world building of our Spider-Man. And I love how they did that. I agree with you.
As much as like
corporate suit who's just like, hey, we got to ground the movie. These people haven't seen it. We got to ground the movie. You know that.
Oh yeah.
There's some dickhead in a corporate building.
We're not telling the origin story. Excuse me.
We're getting new fans in here.
Right.
But there's 8-year-olds that have never seen the other one. Like, you know, yeah. Look, to be honest, I agree with everything you're saying. I think it's a bold strategy and it worked brilliantly for them. But at the same time, I want to see those scenes. I want to see him get bit. I want to see Uncle Ben die. I want to see who Uncle Ben is. Do you know what I mean? I have to see these.
This is why it's the low. This is why it was risky, is because they know that there is millions of Fintos that are just going to eat up that 30 minutes.
Yeah. But I think
time.
show those scenes in Spider-Man 4 or something, like give it to us way later, but just give it to us at some point. Do you know what I mean? Or do an extended cut of the movie.
Not
like,
only do they like skip past it, they almost even kind of like look down on it, because Ned's like, oh, really? He's like, the spider's dead, Ned. He says it very nonchalant, it's dead.
Yeah.
I was about to say that as well, because like, Ned's like, oh, I'd let the spider bite me. Like, I would. I'd let him bite me, and all. He's like, yeah, the spider's dead, Ned. Let it go. You know, and it's like, that's just the thing. He's like, let it go. Like, let's just move on. Like, you know, it's very clever, very clever. Love it.
I think one of the best iterations of this movie as well is the fact that they don't take it to a dark turn. You know, the previous two iterations with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, very, very sad, somber at times. This one, they literally like, he's a teenage kid, let him have his fun. He's going ham. Yeah. And it was fun. It really was. And although I still like Andrew Garfield, I see Andrew Garfield as the best Peter Parker. Tom Holland's Spider-Man is really fun.
Oh yeah.
Like it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't think we really felt that way about Andrew Garfield until like a year or two ago, right? Like, coming out of his movies, people fucking hated him because he was tied to those movies and just how bad the movies kind of were overall, or how people felt about it. That, you know, everyone thought Andrew Garfield was a bad Spider-Man. And then like in the last like 2 or 3 years, everyone's like, hey, he's actually really fantastic.
He's really good.
And now we love him.
An amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you did there.
No, seriously though, I rewatched Andrew's movies like 2 weeks ago, and I cannot wait. We're gonna do it like on a podcast before No Way Home comes out. We're gonna rewatch all the movies and we're gonna talk about them all. And I guarantee you will love these movies when we go back and watch them, because Spider-Man 1 and 2, like the original Tobey movies, for me are just magical because I was at that right age and they were just, I soaked them up. They were everything to me. Like, Spider-Man 3, when I first saw it, I hated it so much. It was dreadful. But when I rewatched it there like a week ago, and honestly, I was rolling around laughing at it. It was so funny. It's basically a comedy movie now. Like, that's what you got to take it as. You got to go in and you got to laugh at all of the stupid acting from Toby, which was like the direction that he was given. Like, you know, there's plenty of interviews you can listen to him where he's saying, like, you know, we were joking around, and, you know, Sam Raimi was kind of like, yeah, let's just play around with the character and get him goofy and all this sort of stuff. But it's just so bad now that it's good. It's so bad that it's good. And like, it's like,
if you know what I'm saying.
all the memes that you see on the internet now, like any Toby meme is pulled from that movie. So when you're rewatching it now, I was in tears laughing, just because it's like all this stuff that you see, like all the Bully Maguire stuff, like it's all in that movie, and it's just it's fucking gold, lads. I love it. Like, it's so funny. And like, I love the first Andrew Garfield movie is, and this is potentially a bold statement from me now, but if I was to rank all of the Spider-Man movies, the first Andrew Garfield movie is up there for me, like maybe top 3 Spider-Man movies.
Yeah?
I really think it is. I'd probably give Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock, the original Tobey Spider-Man 2, is probably the best Spider-Man movie ever made. I think that's pretty given, would you say? That's number 1.
Yeah, I'd say that's 1 if you're giving Homecoming 2.
I think Homecoming might be number 2, and then I think Andrew's first film is number 3. Yeah, I think that's a fair. I could see.
I think that's a solid. I can agree with those rankings.
It's a solid list, and
Yeah.
that movie is really good. Like, I love Andrew as Peter. I love the start of his like you know, his origin story and stuff like that. There's a lot about the movies that I don't like. You know, I don't like the whole his parents are so involved in those storylines that it's ridiculous. Like, it's like Peter Parker's parents are dead. Like, you know, Aunt May is the one who raised him. Like, whereas, you know, there's scenes every fucking 20 minutes with his dad in it, whether it's a flashback or whatever, and it's just, you don't really feel connected to the storyline because it's just so far out there. Like, even like the intro to the second movie is like all about his dad, like trying to escape, and you're watching him on a jet and everything, and you're like, this is just weird. Why are we watching like his dad and all? It's just crazy. But
that was something I even talked to Drunky about this past week, was like, I don't ever remember them even mentioning the pair in the comics, and he had to be the one to remind me, like, yeah, the only time they've ever mentioned it was for the Andrew Garfield movies, which was like a really weird take on it. It was supposed to just be the idea of this, it could be any kid from New York, kind of like anybody. The parents aren't important to it or anything, and
yeah,
kind of
I mean,
like
technically speaking, though, Richard Parker was part of the CIA. Like, he was the secret agent, man.
But like, I think that, you know, eventually in Marvel Comics they get to a point where like his parents are somebody, right? And with Andrew's Spider-Man movie, they set it up that his parents are somebody and they're tied into the world. And I think that, you know, eventually writing will get there because you know, you run out of things to write if you don't have parents, right? But like, his parents being connected to the story, like, it's not so much that we know who his parents are. It's his parents being connected to the story of Spider-Man is what kind of ruins it, in a sense, because his parents not being important to his story is what opens that up to being like anybody can be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, his parents, like, being the ones who develop, you know, all this like science technology stuff and that like turns him into Spider-Man or whatever. It kind of ruins the magic of what Spider-Man is, that like he doesn't have, or that could be anybody, you know, like it ruins that magical thing that's built into that character, is that his parents aren't tied to his story. So anybody could be a random kid walking down the street and get bit by a spider and be Spider-Man. Any kid on the street can put yourself into that comic book or that movie. But if you don't have scientist parents, well, now you can't do it. Like, that's ruins for you.
there's a great scene.
Knowledge.
There's a great scene in the first movie. I don't know if you remember it, the first Andrew movie, where he goes over to Dr. Connor's house and he reveals himself as Peter Parker. You know, I'm Richard Parker's son. And when he starts like just talking to him, and you see him just showing his like inherited intelligence or whatever from his father, like, and you just see Dr. Connors take that step back, and he's just fascinated by how smart Peter is. Like, that for me is just like such a powerful scene, because it's just like, you know, even without his dad around, he still became his father's son. Like, you know, it's mad. It's crazy. I love that scene.
Mhm.
Like, it's just so well done. Such good acting, and it really just displays how intelligent that Peter Parker is. And that's one of the things that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is kind of missing for me. I know he's young, but at the same time, and I know we kind of get little glimpses into how clever he is, but I don't feel they really sell his intelligence enough in the movie. You know, it's
No,
kind of,
Yeah.
it's like we talked about earlier, and like how I explained it the last time. Like Tom Holland's Peter Parker and Spider-Man are like, oh my god, is that okay? Is like, and it's like, dude, like you know, be your, like, learn to make decisions on your own. And of course, like we see that in the movie, he doesn't make very much decisions on his own, and he's still learning, and it shows that he's a teenager. But it takes a toll on the character after a while, you know. Like learning to make decisions for yourself is supposed to be like the moral of the story. Learning to stand up for what you think, for what you believe in, and to be able to be who you actually know you are is the theme. But like they still perpetuate it, even in the second movie, even in the later movies that we see, like with Tom Holland, he's still like, and it's, yeah.
And I think one of the things that I love about Peter Parker, especially like in the video games that Insomniac make, is like he just goes for it, and like he makes mistakes, right? And it's like, oh no, that happened. Now I got to fix that. Like, just going for it and like just pushing and like making that mistake is actually something that's like really fun about his character. That you're right. They kind of lose that in the MCU because he is so like, I don't know.
Was I supposed to do that?
Yeah.
Like in terms of the other, like even in the games, like Drunky said, like Spider-Man is cocky. Like even if he makes a mistake, he's like, oh, sorry about that. You know?
yeah. That's why I like Andrew's version of him as well. Like, you know, when he first gets the suit and he's like kind of being cocky with like the robbers and stuff like that. Like, and he's like, oh no, a gun, my only weakness and all this stuff. And he's like, small knives and stuff. Like, you know, the comedy is just on par.
It's fantastic. It was so good.
Yeah, it's so good. And he's like using web to close the door and smash your man's head off the car and all this stuff. Like, and you know, it's like stuff that Peter Parker would do. Whereas I don't think like Tom Holland's he's just a very different Spider-Man. Like, not that I'm not dissing him. I love his iteration of Spider-Man as well. Like, I love them all. It's just they are very different. Like, and I pray that we do, and I really like think at this stage, like, it's pretty much confirmed that we will see all three of them together on the screen, like in the next movie. But I just can't wait to see all three of them together, and just you'll see when they're standing beside each other how different they really are. You know.
Man, if they don't have these three Spider-Man in this, I feel so bad for this movie.
What if
At this point, like, it's gotta, like, they just have to do it. They'd have to rework the script to get him in there, bro, because it would feel so bad now.
Yeah.
What
Like
if they just do the Wolverine meme where like he's holding up a picture and he puts his hand on it and it's just a picture of all three of them together?
It's like, like do a fourth wall break or something, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be very.
I keep thinking back to what Pinto said about like Andrew's, like, doesn't matter what they say what he says when they ask him, people don't believe him.
Yeah.
So like if he actually isn't in the movie, it's gonna be hilarious because like he's been so like, guys, I don't know,
And I'll be honest, man, I'm still surprised that Tom Holland is kind of putting up with it. If I was in his shoes, and maybe this is why I would never be, besides me just not being a good actor at all and living in Florida. It just, why would you let them bring back other Spider-Man that are kind of more beloved than you? Like, how would you agree to that? How would you let that? I would at all stops put that to rest.
I don't know. Like, I think Tom has the golden ticket at the end of the day because he's in the MCU. Do you know what I mean? If they go and, like, you know, some of the like theories are that, like, you know, we're going to get to see more Andrew movies, we're going to get to see another Toby movie, like, it's going to go crazy after this, and I want it all. I want to see Raimi's Spider-Man 4 with like their version of Mysterio, who was meant to be Bruce Campbell. Like, it sounds amazing. Like, it sounds unbelievable. Like, I want to see that movie. I want to see Andrew get his redemption story and maybe be Tom Hardy's Venom's Spider-Man. That would be amazing. Let them do that all day. But at the end of the day, Tom Holland's Spider-Man is being put into the leader role for the new Avengers. Like that's where it's going. Like, you know, he's in No Way Home. They, you know, you kind of get a hint that, like, you know, that's what he's kind of being trained up for. He's now got all the Stark tech and so on. So I think that's where it's going. And I think Tom is probably very safe, or he probably has a good safety net on him, because it's like, I'm the Peter Parker of the MCU, so and of the 616, and there's like no change in that. You know, I think Tom is going to go over to Sony and be part of a Sony verse, but at the end of the day, he's still coming back to the MCU, and he's still going to be on the A team. Like, you know,
I was gonna say the opposite. I was gonna say maybe Tom's like, yeah, I'm the MCU Spider-Man. Let those guys go make some Sony movies if they want, and I'm gonna stay over here holding down the MCU.
Well, I think that will happen, but I think part of the agreement with Sony was that they would get Spider-Man back, so they would actually get the right to use Tom Holland. So the rumor is that Tom Holland will be the Spider-Man that appears in Venom 3.
You get Spider-Man. I don't think they could make it contractually. It has to be Tom, can they?
I think it is, yeah, because they've shared that character with Marvel, and part of the stipulation was that they were able to bring it into Sony properties. So him into Sony properties.
I'd say they could really screw him and be like, yeah, you guys can use Spider-Man, but you're not having Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing, is like, I've heard some other rumors saying that it's not going to be Toby or Andrew that dies in the movie.
There's 3 separate endings to the movie. There's three. They shot 3 endings to the movie in case one of them leaks. I'm gonna guess that one of them. I think one of the Spider-Men has to die, and I don't know if it's gonna be at the end of. I thought maybe it would make a lot of sense to be Toby, because you can't keep Toby around long term. You can definitely keep Andrew and Tom Holland around long term, definitely. You know, they're both so passionate about it. Like Tom Holland is very young as well, so you know, you could easily get another 10 years out of him as that character, like age wise, and it would still kind of look proper. Whereas I think Andrew Garfield is just, he's so passionate about the project that I think, you know, you could get him in for another 2 movies or another 3 movies or whatever easily. Like, I think he would happily do it. He would want that redemption. And like, just imagine like the fan reactions to him getting another movie. It would just be incredible. Like, honestly, it really would. And if it had anything to, like, if Kevin Feige was anywhere near it, it would just be a smash. So like, I really think that they're going to do that. Like, that's honestly what I think is coming. And I do think that maybe they all make it out of this movie, and then I think Toby dies in Sam Raimi's Doctor Strange 2. I think it's a perfect little end for him. Unless they do the Sam Raimi 4, or like the Spider-Man 4. Then
I personally hope they put all 3 endings out there into the public, and it's like, in this part of the country you get this ending, and in this part of the country you get that ending.
Everyone,
so like, you're in the multiverse, everyone get ready.
That'd be crazy, bro.
Crazy.
Call Disney, guys, we need to do it. That was actually
regional freaking endings. Like, yeah, this is what the ending they got. This is what.
Imagine it was like a mad pick a mix, like, for each theater. So like, random copies went to theaters all over the place.
Chunky, they do that, and then they have to play stupid about it too. Like, we don't know what you guys are talking about.
Bro, imagine how cool that'd be. Like, imagine like us coming onto the podcast the week after we see the movie or whatever, and then it's like, guys, what ending did you get? Like, and imagine like we all got different endings.
No, that's not what happened. I watched it, bro. I was there. Yeah. This is what happened.
Yeah, no, I think they let people know that there's 3 different endings out there, and then then you get the whole world talking about it, and then everyone's like, which one did you get?
Arguing about it. You get them arguing, not talking. Like, no, this is what the ending was. Okay, well, I'm telling you, I was in the movie theater. This is what my ending was. Okay, well, I'm telling you that no, you weren't, because I was there, and my buddy Ted will tell you. Like, you got to get people mad about it, and then they just have to sit back and play stupid. Like, hey, we released the movie. You guys like it?
And then we just have Marvel put up a Twitter poll on which ending should be the real one. Then we all vote.
I like that, man.
Well,
I like it.
Well, that's how they did the Jason Todd thing, right?
Yeah.
Pinto? Death
in the Family, yeah. So they pretty much put it out to a public vote whether Jason Todd would die or not, and everyone hated him as Robin at the time, so they were like, yeah, kill him. And that's how we got the birth of one of my favorite comic book characters. It was great. Amazing. I love the Red Hood so much. Incredible.
So to kind of finish this up though, I think the reason, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Finto, but I think the reason why the top 3 Spider-Men are Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 1, and Spider-Man Homecoming is because they designed the villain's motive so well that you believe it, and you understand it, and you can totally go with it and be like, yep, That's
Yeah.
I totally understand why he would cause trouble for Peter. I understand why like Spider-Man would have such a difficult time having to, decide whether or not to take down this person.
Yeah.
And because like with Alfred Molina's like Doc Ock, it was sort of Peter's fault that Doc Ock's wife died,
Mm-hmm.
and then like he has
He's
the
a
motive
mentor.
yeah, exactly, and he has the motive to recreate that device and like to finish his work because his wife died for it. And then in the Amazing Spider-Man, Dr. Connors lost his arm, and he's trying to regen, and he knows
Yeah.
that like by using like DNA and getting like he needs Spider-Man's DNA to like get things rolling.
If you're a scientist and you lose your arm and you are smart enough to actually potentially grow it back, of course you're going to do it. Like fact, like of course. Like it'd be stupid if you didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
And for the fact that Spider-Man keeps like stopping him from completing his plan and making everything Dr. Connor's way, there's your motive right there too. He's like he wants to take over the basically the area so that he has control and that he gets to keep his arm. And then in Homecoming you have Vulture had to deal with debris, and he's also like part of a gang, and they're trying to score like new tech every I can't remember like the full motivation at the beginning, but I know at the end since Spider-Man took their tech and told on them basically, once they find out that big reveal, it's like I have a reason to just like straight up tell Spider-Man, you back off.
Yeah. Like I think like the start of the movie is very clever because he's just a regular dude, and he's running a construction team. He hires a whole bunch of men and buys new trucks and all this stuff, goes like heavily into debt because he thinks he's won this contract by the city and he's going to get a massive job in clearing out all this alien tech, and it's going to have his whole business booming. And then Tony Stark and the government come in and just take it away, and that's it. Like, and he's like, but Jesus, I have like a whole crew of guys here who have families, and everybody's got to pay for their houses and support their families and everything. And just like that, Tony Stark and the government just take it all away. And then they're like, fuck this, we're going to start robbing this stuff and making our own tech and selling it. Like, the world is changing. That's one of my favorite lines in the movie. The world is changing. We need to change too. By Michael Keaton. Like, it's just fucking brilliant. Like, brilliant.
And that reveal and him like having the gun out, and he's like, he's basically telling Peter, don't fuck with my business.
Yeah, exactly. It's so real. Like, it's like something that you'd see like a gangster like dad say, like, you know what I mean? Like, dude going out with his daughter, like, I gotta have the talk with Peter, like, you know it would be coming, like. So yeah, no, it's just, I love that scene so much. It's brilliant.
Well, one of my favorite.
You're dead right
One
though.
of my favorite.
What you've just said. Sorry, just to give you some praise there, because the way you've actually summed those three movies up, it's very like I never thought about it in that way. But each of those villains are like connected to Peter in a way, like mentor wise, or like connected to him in a love interest wise, like in Homecoming. But they're all very believable and very kind of human characters, and they're the best movies. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well done,
I
well
think
done,
that's
Alex.
because-
Well done.
Like there's certain comic book characters who are just great on their own. Like Superman is just great. Captain America is great. Iron Man is just great. But then there's characters, and I think Batman's kind of like this, that are similar to Spider-Man, that they're good, they're really good characters, but they're only made great because of their villains and like the way they play off of their villains. And I think that's why when they nail the villains in a Spider-Man movie, it's like makes it all the better. It's because there are such good villains in that comic book series. And so when they're able to transfer it over to movies, it's just like, man, bro, like that really, really hits.
100%.
And like my favorite ride at the theme parks here in Orlando is the Spider-Man ride. And like just seeing Spider-Man's entire like, they have like, I don't know, 6 or 7 villains in that ride that like show up and they're interacting with you. Like Doc Ock's there. One of the symbiotes is there. I forget which one it is. It's a lady. And they just have them all there, man, and they're all interacting with you. And like you go through there, you're like, bro, Spider-Man is like has the best villains gallery out of probably any comic book hero, because it's just so fun to see all of them, man. Like, you guys gotta go on that ride if you ever come to Orlando. You have to.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Where's the with the Spider-Man robot? Is that in Cali, Disney, or is that yours, Drunky?
Which one?
The robot Spider-Man? Is that the
That's
Cali
Cali.
Disney or yours?
That's
Yeah.
Cali.
Dang it. I
That
wish
one
that was
sucked.
at yours, dude.
That one's terrible.
But I just want to see the robot. Yeah, screw
Love
that
it.
one.
Love it. Guys, let's talk about Doctor Strange
Doctor
2.
Strange.
Or sorry, Doctor Strange 1, the original.
Doctor Strange 1. Now, hold up. Wait. You seen Doctor Strange 2? Tell me the secrets.
I know, bro. I know. I don't know. I'm so used to saying Doctor Strange 2 because it's all I talk about. It's all I talk about when we go into the rumor sections and stuff like that. So
It's so good.
yeah.
Technically speaking, Kyle, for all we know, Finto went back in time just now.
Hell yeah.
All I
Imagine-
know is there's a lot of good things that I had forgot about this movie. I forgot that they even mentioned the Living Tribunal in this movie, which is nutty that they mention him. That's cool. It's Doctor Strange. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything bad.
I
Enjoyed
personally think Doctor Strange, for me, whenever I go back and watch it, it's just like it's a top 3 or 5 Marvel movie for me. It never disappoints on rewatch. Benedict Cumberbatch, like he just turns in this amazing character. Who, truth be told, like I knew about Doctor Strange and was always a fan of his artwork, but never really dug into the character until I seen this movie. And like the way he sells it and gets me interested in the character, really is only I think matched by honestly like Tony Stark being played by Robert Downey Jr. Like he is as much as RDJ is Iron Man, he is Doctor Strange. Like he fills those shoes. He gets the personality, like he looks like him. He gets like the cockiness down to the character. And I adore this film. I adore it. All the special effects are opening up this whole magic realm that didn't exist before. The world building that they do with like the monks and the spiritual stuff, like it's hands down one of the best MCU movies for what it did. I mean, the visual, the inception, like the city
my God.
folding in on itself. Do you remember sitting in
It's
the movie theater
beautiful.
and seeing that? Like
Pure
I'm blown away.
insanity.
It was like, holy
Seeing like
crap.
the
Pure
galaxy,
insanity.
seeing part of the dark world, the dark universe in the liner, seeing that CGI on that. Mads Mikkelsen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Incredible.
don't know what else he's in before this, but he's just such a good villain.
He's a
He's
fantastic
desperate.
actor, bro. Fantastic actor.
He-
I'm kind of
He was in
annoyed.
Casino Royale, I think.
I'm kind of annoyed, if I'm being very honest, that they used him for that such a small role in the MCU because I think he has such a bigger place. Like he could have been a great Doom, for example,
Yes.
and gone for
Yes.
gone for
That
movies
would've
and
been
movies
sick.
and movies.
He could have
Yeah.
been the Mordo for us, but
Yeah,
they did
that too.
They did a different direction with Mordo.
Yeah, like I think he's a great actor, and I love that he's in this movie. But I think you kind of shot your shot too early with him and didn't give him enough.
What do we get? Like 10 minutes of him in this?
Yeah,
whole movie?
it's
You know what I
crazy,
mean? Like
bro.
10
It's
minutes?
crazy. He's such a god tier fucking actor, and he's so underutilized now in the MCU. And now, with how connected everything is in the MCU, you can't use him again because it just doesn't make any sense unless you do some kind of crazy fucking multiverse thing where you pluck him from a different universe and drop him into the MCU and he's a different person or something. And that's just messy. I don't like, and I don't think they'll do that, but. That's one of the things that I really don't like about this movie. It's just the fact that he was so wasted,
Underutilized.
Yeah, it was just so heartbreaking for me. I love
Maybe they
everything.
can get away with it because of the mask, though. Maybe they'll send it and be like, "Hey, man, 95% of the time he's got that mask on, so let's do it."
You know
Maybe,
what I think
maybe.
would be a saving grace is if Dormammu comes back and Caecilius gets to be like the Avatar, and he's given like the outfit of Dormammu, and he gets to like kind of just be Dormammu in the flesh.
Yeah, they
And that
use
would be
Dormammu
sick.
a lot in the comics. He is a reoccurring villain multiple times. Like Ultron is reoccurring. Well, that's kind of what's strange about the MCU is they have to take these villains that in the comics, like Ultron is a big bad that comes back time and time again. Some of these Dormammu, some of these villains, they just kept coming back, but in the MCU, they kind of only get their one and done runs. Really,
Yeah.
I think so. I don't there hasn't been much resurrect, or if any resurrection in the MCU. I think one of the ones that we saw was like Red Skull,
Thanos.
for example.
And like when they go back in time for the Thanos and the Red Skull, yeah.
Yeah, Red Skull was one I didn't see coming at all. Like I didn't know he was going to be in that movie, and that was a real surprise for me. I don't think I think it's a bit like it makes perfect sense in comic books. Jesus Christ, like any DC comics, like fucking how many times has Alfred died in Batman, and you know what I mean? Like it's just like he's dead at the moment, and he's actually been gone for like 2 years now, and I don't think he's gonna come back ever. Like it's kind of scary, but I'm not gonna be surprised at the same time if he just reappears in a year's time and they just revived him somehow. Like revival is just such a thing, like in the comics, but I don't think it works in cinema. Like it's unless you're gonna do time travel and change something, and it's so messy, as we all know. Flashpoint paradoxes and all this sort of shit. Like, but yeah, I don't know. I think the MCU are smarter than to start reviving dead characters.
I mean, I would love to see Red Skull get taken out of his like quote unquote imprisonment from being on Vormir, and just comes back to Earth, and he's like, "All right, let's reestablish Hydra.
Well,
let's do it."
You do remember the rumors I told you previously?
Which one?
So there's a rumor going around that what is it? Is it Madam Hydra? So your one Val who's doing all the recruiting for the like Dark Avengers or Thunderbolts or whatever. She's actually Madam Hydra. Madam Hydra is related to Red Skull, apparently. Like there's a bloodline to Red Skull, and apparently he's gonna come back during one of these shows, potentially Thunderbolts, and reestablish the Hydra. So I think what you're wishing for, Alex, I think is coming, but it's probably a while away. It's coming.
He's coming.
Yeah.
My heart breaks every time just talking about Doctor Strange. Every time I see that Lamborghini crash, bro, like I die a little inside. It's such a beautiful car, and just like that scene is just so intense and so graphic. And just when you see his hands go through the dashboard and get crushed, like I'm just like, no. It's just what I feel. I feel it, like I feel it in my hands. I feel it. Yeah, the dashboard. No. God damn it, Strange! Your fucking hands ruined that dashboard. Oh, that's fucking great.
It's such.
We lost your camera, Drunky.
I'll be right back.
We know, like, and it just like they hit the emotions on that scene really well. Like when he wakes up to his hands being on, like,
oh yeah,
no one could have done better. And he's like, I could have done better.
Yeah, like that's such a beautiful scene because it's just poetry, isn't it? You wake up and the one thing that you could like you're the only person that can save yourself, and now that your hands are wrecked, you can't do it. Like it's not possible. Like, and it makes perfect sense to me why he goes down the path he goes down, because of the character that he is, the type of personality that he has. He's such a perfectionist, and he wants to get back to being number one and being the best surgeon that there ever was, and get his perfect record back on track. Like, so it makes he's doing it for very selfish reasons at the start, and then it just kind of,
well, even like midway through to the point where he's like, where they describe like, yeah, this one of the old students is now kind of on a rampage. He's like, he's even got powers at the point. He's like, wait, I signed up to get my hands back, and not for this. I'm out of here. Like they have to like,
they got to claw him back nearly.
Like, yeah. And he almost like, it doesn't like, he doesn't have an interest in being a superhero at any point.
No.
Like even once he has the powers, he doesn't want to really be a hero. So that's what makes it that much like better when he just takes his place in.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
And although like he's a perfectionist, and yes, he's probably a multimillionaire, it's a very human thing to be so distraught at part of your body no longer working properly and wanting to fix it by any means. Because he calls, he makes phone calls, he makes video calls, he tries to get more money, he wants to fix it.
Yeah, he sells everything. I love that scene.
And then he runs into
his apartment's empty at the end. Empty. Like just before he leaves, his apartment's empty. He sold everything; it's gone. And Rachel McAdams comes in, and she's just like, "You have nothing left, Stephen. You have to move on. Like this is it. It's over. Like." And he just can't let it go. It's fucking.
Well, I love that. Like,
beautiful.
What sets him off on his journey is the fact that he runs into somebody else that's exactly like him. He's talking to that French doctor, and he's like, "You can try this," and he's like, "I've got my reputation to look after too. I'm not going to do it." And
Yeah,
because that guy
you
is
wouldn't
just,
you wouldn't do it either.
yeah, because like it's so much like him and like one of his colleagues. That's what gets him on this journey to begin with, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes to that basketball arena and just talks to Paco for a second.
We're going to Kathmandu.
Yeah, I really love the story, man. It's always a great story. Any kind of thing that's written about it, it's like, you know, it's his entire identity is being a surgeon. That's who he is, and not just being a surgeon, but like being the best at it. Being the best at something is his entire identity in life.
Yeah.
And that being taken away, like I can relate or like love any type of story like that, where it's like, like when it gets taken away, who are you on the other end of that? Because you were nothing else.
Oh,
And
bro.
you know that realization is, you know, kind of part of his spiritual journey. Is not just like, oh yeah, it's okay not to be able to use your hands. Like, who are you? Like, who
It
are
really-
you? Because you never knew who you were before that.
Yeah.
It echoes what we saw in Homecoming too, where that
Yeah.
scene I told you that hits so strong, where he's looking in the reflection of the water and he hears Tony Stark say, "Well, if you're nothing without the suit, then maybe you shouldn't have it in the first place." It's that same message being like, if you're nothing without your hands, then who are you know you're nobody in the first place.
I kind of find it funny that Tony Stark is the one using this line, and he's literally a
Yeah.
man in a suit.
Iron Man.
He is nothing without the suit. Like, you know, he has no powers, no nothing. Like, you know, without his tech, he is nothing. Like, he's just a nerd. So I always laugh at that scene
That's
when I hear
irony.
it. Yeah, I always laugh at that scene when I hear it coming. From the
Irony.
movie. Irony. Yeah.
Well, you know, in his movies, they explore that when he doesn't have the suit, he still has to be a hero. You know what I mean? He still has to try and do stuff without the suit.
But if
and
he
it's the
does,
best-
but if he doesn't have his tech though, like, you know, if he doesn't have his money, you know, where is he then? Like, you know, if he's just himself, just him in a tracksuit, nothing else, like, and he's not in his house or have any of his gadgets, like, what does he do?
I mean but that's why I really liked Iron Man 3 because when his suit was removed, he still had to like figure stuff out on his own.
yeah,
Like he still
like
had
when
to be
he's out in
MacGyver
Kentucky
with,
or whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
I just came up with a brilliant idea. We need to do a show where it's Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark. They're in like retirement home, just messing with gadgets and stuff.
I like it. They're just finding
It's
new
so
ways
good.
to try and kill each other, like, you know, like tech to try and sabotage each other's
Yeah,
like
trying to get
life
out,
support
they're trying to
machines
get
and
out-
shit.
Yeah, they're trying to get out of the home that they don't want to be in, and they're
Yeah.
just these two, you know, washed up billionaires with tech and genius.
With a box of scraps.
Yeah, Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps. I love it. Love it.
And I love them in this movie how they build up Strange to be so goddamn cocky that he rivals Tony Stark's level of absurd cockiness and assuredness that like once they interact with each other in Infinity War, like it's like
Wow.
there's like
Yeah.
button heads. It's so good.
Yeah. It's like, just, what does he say? There's a great, what is it? Like, I'm just protecting the timeline, you jackass, or
Your
something.
realities.
Like, yeah, just your reality, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And like, yeah, it's such a perfect casting. Again, it's like tip of the hat to Marvel for just getting Benedict Cumberbatch for that, because he is absolutely perfect.
Is the book that they get the spell of Dormammu from? Is that the actual Darkhold, or is it one of the other ones in there?
From
Um,
the book?
Yeah, isn't the Darkhold
No,
supposed to be one of those?
The Darkhold's missing. You don't see the Darkhold at all
Oh,
in Doctor
okay.
Strange.
Right.
I didn't know if it was like just kind of in there in the background at any point.
No, I forget what book exactly it is, but it's just like
It's a
this
book of
time-
Cagliostro from the
Was it the
library.
book of Cagliostro?
Yep.
Cagliostro.
Man.
So it's a
Harry
book of
Potter with these
Cagliostro.
names.
You're right. Cagliostro is such a jerk, man, causing all this trouble.
Honestly.
Teaching
I,
Doom
um,
all this tricks.
Yeah, I just they make it feel like he's got this power to rewind time, and they don't make it feel like abused. Like he only really uses it that one time when he shows up at the end.
Mhm.
But like, I mean, if you think about it, he could have used it at any point and just ended the movie. But I love how they just really.
Oh,
I
the
feel like
visuals.
they take us to this next level of like cosmic and powers and universe with great visuals, and they make it still feel like it fits in this universe.
Mhm. Yeah,
The-
it's definitely grounded in the MCU, and then all of a sudden you start seeing like hands grow out of fingers. Like you're just like,
Yeah.
what is this
Yeah.
thing?
Oh,
Like,
it's-
I
it's
couldn't believe they went there.
Trippy as
Reality.
hell, bro. It's trippy as
And,
fuck.
and the colors, man, like God, this movie was beautiful, bro. Like beautiful.
I love the
And was
scene.
it-
I love the scene where he first gets the astral projection, and then like goes like gets
Oh, yeah.
shot up into the universe or whatever, like wherever he goes, and it's just cheeks flapping and everything, and he's just.
I love when she brings him back for a second. She's like, "Oh, his heart rate's elevating." She's like, "It's okay. He just needs a breather." And he comes back for like 1 second. And she's like, "See," and pats him on the back, and he goes back again.
Yeah. Oh, it's just
So
it's
good.
incredible. And then he comes back, and it's just like, what now? It's like
Right,
it's like
here's the plan.
what
Teach
now,
me.
bitch? Yeah, like
We're all gonna stay up for like 4 days straight. We're gonna sleep deprive ourselves really bad, and then we're gonna watch this movie.
I would love to. Yeah.
I know.
Craziest
That'd
dreams
be
we've
crazy.
ever had.
I think you need to. I'd love to watch this movie in a different mind state. Like I think it'd be fucking crazy. Do some shrooms or something like and watch it. It'd be fucking nuts.
Oh my gosh!
I think it'd be
Need a
crazy.
seatbelt for that.
Yeah, dude.
Buy a seatbelt and attach it to my couch.
I would love that, dude.
I also love how it wasn't just like magic. It was also contraptions, objects,
Relics.
things within
Yeah.
the world. Yeah, relics that just exist. And that we don't know too much about everything yet, but we do see little things that were mentioned in comics. And then, some of them are mentioned, some of them are explained, others are just kind of like, you don't even know what to do with that, do you?
Yeah. And again,
that's so good.
I love Wong in the movie as well. Like shout out to Wong, like he's so funny in it as well. Like, and it's like such a great intro for a character like that as well. Like he's so serious but so funny at the same time.
He only laughed the one time at the end. I cracked up.
Yeah.
That was a great punchline.
I forgot, like, this is the start of like my favorite running gag in the MCU. It's Wong's like growing hair. Like he starts off in this one, I forgot, it's like like shaved down, like thin.
Yeah.
And like it's just been growing out every movie he's been in. It just keeps growing and growing. It's just one of these things I realize when I go back and see this movie, I'm like, it's the dumbest thing. Like they just won't cut his hair. Like I love it, man. I would say also in terms of suits, did you like this strange suit better, or did you like him in Ragnarok when he had like the yellow gloves on?
I like this one.
I like this one.
Mm-hmm.
Much more like
It's
much
just more
I think,
modernized.
current, yeah.
I like the
love those
homage
yellow
in
gloves
Ragnarok.
in
Yeah.
Ragnarok, bro. The old yellow gloves, dude. Fire, man.
Yeah.
I wish they would bring that. Oh yeah, I wish they
It's
would
that
bring
nice
back.
homage. It's so wonderful.
Just it's a bold, it's like, look at me, I'm Doctor Strange. I got yellow goddamn gloves.
I can
And
wear
I'm doing
whatever.
magic.
I can wear
Dishwasher
whatever
gloves,
the
bro.
fuck I want. To be honest, I'll be very honest with you. I haven't really noticed the gloves. To be honest, I haven't taken note of it. But now, the next time I'm watching anything, it's the gloves will be all I look at. Like
I'm looking them up now, and yeah, we're just so much better without.
I'm about
What?
I'm about to watch the Spider-Man trailer again. Just looking out for gloves.
Yeah, no, they're not doing it again. I'm sure. Like the only one who had the balls to do it was Taika Waititi, whatever. I forget. I can never say his name right or remember.
Taika Waititi. Yeah.
Taika Waititi.
You
Yeah, he's
were
the
right.
only one
Yeah.
that had the balls. I did it.
You did
Get in
it.
there.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love him. I love him as a character. I love him as an actor. Like, how much more do you think he's in the MCU for the long run? Like, they've got him locked down, and he's happy to do it. Like, he could do that for another 10 years, easy. He's young enough guy. Like, he seems like he's not gonna like go out of shape or anything like that, or like drastically change looks wise or anything. I think it's very safe to bank him for 10 years. Like, and by the sounds of it, if he's going to be doing the likes of Midnight Suns, and if he shot a scene for WandaVision and stuff, he's very down for the MCU and all the projects. So yeah, I think we're
He's
very
gonna be like that tie back to the old school the whole time. I think too, where like
Yeah.
if you, like you said, if Spider-Man takes over that leader role, he wasn't really. I guess they both kind of come in at the same time, but still, he's just got that age to him that makes him feel. Because like we lost all of our older members, if you think about it.
yeah.
And I think with like Benedict Cumberbatch, like I think he's a worksman. Like I think he's like a craftsman. Like he's in there to make and work a lot. But he also likes to do a lot of like plays and a lot of indie films, and like really bold roles outside of the MCU.
Yeah.
And so I feel like he might look at the MCU as kind of like that's his mortgage money. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
paying the bills. That's keeping his lifestyle going.
That's the retirement
so that
fund.
he can. Right, so then he can go fuck off and do whatever he wants, and you know, just has to show up in the MCU, big payday real quick, and then like I'm gonna go
back to doing indie
do
stuff.
whatever.
Or do something else.
Yeah, and like he has no problem making TV shows. Like, you know, he got his, I think his pretty big start into
Sherlock.
everyone's knowledge was Sherlock, right? So he's down to do like episodic content, like he's down to do bigger universes, ongoing stuff. Like he that's, I think it's just in his makeup as an actor.
Yeah, he's a fantastic Sherlock as well, and I love that him and Downey on screen, they're both Sherlocks as well. Like, it's just very funny that they butt heads and they both play the same character. You know, it's fucking brilliant.
God.
Yeah.
Whenever they reboot this, I think he's gonna be old enough to come back and play Tony Stark. You know,
Yeah, imagine.
that's the goal.
Oh my god, could you imagine they rebooted it and someone who was in the original MCU got, like, you know, one of the main like slots in like the next one?
Yeah, Chris Pratt comes back as Captain America.
Yeah. That's so funny, dude. That's so funny. Like, I've watched a few interviews with him. He's very funny in real life, and he was saying his kid he's got a young son, and his son is obsessed with Captain America. And like, his dad is a fucking superhero, but he doesn't even acknowledge it. It's all about Captain America. Like, so there's loads of pictures of him online, and he's walking down the road with his kid, and his kid's wearing a fucking Captain America t-shirt and everything. Oh, bro. What
And
do
he's
you
down
do?
for anything too. Like I was at Universal and I was doing the new Velociraptor ride they got there, right, with the Jurassic Park ride. And I'm just standing in line going through like the themed lines of queues. And all of a sudden on like the huge screen, like Chris Pratt just shows up and is like talking and is like doing a scene meant for that ride, you know, like, you know,
Yeah.
he's like, oh man, I don't care what the roller coaster you guys are going on. This is dangerous. I'm like, he'll do anything. Like, he doesn't care.
Yeah, fair play to him. Did you ever hear him talking about his time on Parks and Rec? Like, when he was like overweight and stuff, and you know, he was like, they actually paid him to gain weight because they realized in the show that like the bigger he got, the funnier he got. So there was like, he was literally doing any time that he was in a scene where he was in a restaurant or something, he would actually eat all the food for real. So he said there's a scene in the show. I haven't really watched much of the show, but there's a scene in the show where he's eating racks of ribs during a scene, and he's not even talking during the scene. And he's literally sitting there eating racks of ribs, and they had to do like 8 takes or 12 takes or something. And he's like, I actually ate 12 racks of ribs because they had to re-rack my plate for every shot. And he literally did it each time. Like,
That's hilarious.
yeah, what a legend, bro. What a legend.
That's crazy.
Listen, if they were gonna have me act and they were gonna be like, if I was an actor and they're like, yeah, we're gonna give you this BS, you have to pretend to eat, because that's one thing that I don't know why it always bugs me in shows. Like one show that's really bad about it. If you guys have ever watched How I Met Your Mother, you watch anytime they ever have to eat, they literally keep picking up the same piece of food with a fork and they drop it. Well, then like they act like they dropped it into like the container and then they pick it up again. And then they always conveniently drop it. That kind of stuff just bugs me. Just have them choose something.
Just
like,
eat the fucking burger.
Or just don't put food in the scene then.
Yeah, it's very dangerous to do scenes with people that are smoking, because it's another one that's like continuity error all the time. You'll see the cigarette goes up and down in size because they just are chopping and editing stuff and combining takes into the best cuts and stuff. And yeah, you just see, I always notice it, like when people are smoking in scenes, you'll be like, okay, her cigarette's this size now, and now the next scene it's like it shoots back up and then goes down all the way and back up again, and it's just like, it's just terrible. Like, I think they've stopped showing a lot of smoking on screen because of like reasons like that. It's very smart, because it's just something that always drives me crazy. And you can always kind of tell when people are kind of fake drinking and stuff in movies and shows and all as well. It's like, whenever I see someone drinking coffee on like a TV show or a movie, I'm like, they're not drinking anything. That cup's empty. I just always think it. I'm like, it's empty.
Unless they're on Game of Thrones, then they're actually drinking coffee.
They're drinking Starbucks, yeah.
They're drinking Starbucks,
do we know how Chris Pratt lost his weight? Apparently, he said he just stopped drinking beer. That makes sense. Isn't he married to Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter as well? So I'm sure he got some good training tips and stuff off Arnie. Absolutely, and sure,
really?
he is. Yeah, he's married to her. look, bro, like if I was an actor, like you're getting paid to go to the gym, like millions of dollars. You have like fucking professional chefs cooking every single meal for you, diet plans, everything. Like you don't have to do anything. Someone is paid to put the right food in front of you and tell you to go to the gym when you need to go. And there's a training partner and everything, PTs and all this shit. Like if you're a fucking famous actor and you are not in shape, like you're never going to get in shape. Like that's just the way it is. Like, if you can't do it with all the money, you're never going to do it.
Unless it's their persona. Like
of course,
just
yeah.
how...
Like Jack Black isn't gonna lose weight because Jack Black's funny because he's a big guy. Like like there's that, of course. And I think that's what's funny about Chris Pratt is like he was being geared up to turn into that, and then they just did a 180 on it, and they're like, okay, we need you to get a 6-pack now. So it's like, yeah.
Good career move for him, huh?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
just gonna go ahead and do this.
Yeah, I'm gonna get
MCU.
I'm gonna get jacked now, and now I'm in MCU and like Jurassic Park, like two of the biggest franchises ever. Win-win.
I bet all the people that aren't like jacked are like, why'd Vin Diesel have to get the Groot role, man? Why didn't they pick one of us?
Yeah.
Picked a jack guy to do just the voice.
Yeah, Will.
Now
Like
you see Chris Hemsworth getting jerked.
I'll never judge somebody getting cast in a role until I see it after the whole like Heath Ledger thing. Like it always goes back to the Heath Ledger thing. He was destroyed online for like the years that movie was in production and everything. Like they're like, what, we're casting a guy from 10 Things I Hate About You? This is ridiculous. And he went and just smashed it. So I'll never, after seeing that, like Robert.
Whenever I thought of him, you got to give him credit for the Paul Bettany movie, man. The A Knight's Tale. Come on, him and Paul Bettany killed that movie.
That is one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
Fucking love Knight's Tale.
Yeah.
It's so good. I've been thinking about it a lot lately because I was thinking about like, man, Paul Bettany's been in this game a long time too.
Mhm.
Like he's been doing this, and he's been doing this with some legends for a long time, and now we have him in the MCU. Like
MCU's just picking up everybody.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever see
It's
like
such a good
Leonardo
payday.
DiCaprio or Brad Pitt or any like the big boys? Do you ever think we'll see any of them in the MCU?
Mm-hmm.
Leo
I
is
do.
Silver Surfer.
Brad Pitt is like fucking Reed Richards or something.
I don't know. I think that's kind of what's made them almost so successful is that they didn't use any of those people, and then they like built them up to those kind of level of stars through their work.
Mhm.
Like maybe
did see Pitt, you're
Leo.
right.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
say Leo, but maybe there's a big name actor out there that's just not going to deliver because he doesn't need a breakthrough. He's got a huge, solid body of work. He doesn't need to leave it all out there. And I don't know. Maybe I'm off base here. I just don't imagine Leo being a huge comic book fan or anything like that.
No, but
I
I think
just-
if you make a character as big as Tony Stark again and like Robert Downey Jr. and you bring in somebody like Leo, could like smash that role. Like he's a fantastic actor, obviously. So
Yeah.
it's just it's hard to know. I think
We've talked about it before, like Tom Cruise almost had that part, right?
yeah, he
Mhm.
almost got that role. Yeah, I think
I
part
didn't.
of the magic of the MCU is just the fact that they hire all these unknowns and people that come in like Tom Hiddleston and stuff was a nobody before that. Chris Hemsworth was on like soap operas in fucking Australia, like you know what I mean. These guys weren't doing anything big and they just got their big breaks, and I think that's what is even more impressive about the MCU is the fact that they can still find such amazing talent and use people that we've never heard of before, and then obviously sprinkle in the legends as well. Like,
Well, I think I didn't even know this. Samuel L. Jackson apparently, and I don't know how accurate this is. I haven't done like multiple fact checking, but apparently when they came up with Ultimate Marvel or the Marvel Ultimate Universe, it was their idea of saying like this is what Marvel Universe would look like in current day times, and they wrote Nick Fury to look like Samuel L. Jackson. And at first he was going to sue them for using his likeness, and then he was like, I mean, if you let me play him though in the MCU, we can call it even. They're like, all right, deal, because like they wanted him to
Fantastic.
look like that anyway. So that's how apparently he got the role.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Like they used when they did Marvel's Ultimate Universe, they drew the new Nick Fury to look like Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know if the whole him gonna sue them thing was true or not, but yeah, that's crazy.
I heard something.
So
I heard something funny actually. Just talking about like castings and stuff. there was a conversation happening about like who the Fantastic Four should be, right? And someone made the point that it's a very, very obvious point, but you don't really think about it. So, Kang is black, right? And Kang is obviously a descendant of Reed Richards, and he's like very dark skinned, and it's like, you know, I think like people were saying like, oh, we think maybe they might do like a kind of race swap for Reed Richards, and I'm like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like when you think about it,
That would make a lot of sense.
yeah, like I think they've
they-
pretty much kind of told, like given us that
They
already.
kinda have to, yeah.
They kind of have to do it now, right? Because it's like they have Kang as oh my god, I can't, Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't really have a white guy playing him now after that, like, you know.
I mean, but then again, you think about it, it's generations. It's like, I think it's what, 1,000 years later.
Mhm.
Is it actually 1,000?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
long
he's in
time.
the, yeah.
Okay,
He's
well
in
then,
the-
well then forget it. Anything's fair game then, I suppose. 1,000
No,
years
'cause
is a
I-
long time.
No, I was gonna say we should have Denzel Washington as Reed Richards.
That'd be fucking
Fun.
sweet.
Holy
That'd be
shit,
fantastic.
that
Oh
would
my God, yeah.
slap,
Like, it would be
dude.
fantastic.
That would be
What a
great.
Yeah.
great
Wow.
call.
It would be fantastic.
It would, yeah. Mr. Fantastic. I'd love that. Like,
That
yeah,
would
like
be
Denzel's
awesome.
another one who, you know, could really sit very nicely in the MCU.
Yeah.
And it would make a lot of sense and it would work very well. Reed Richards would be a crazy one for him.
Well, and I feel like going back to Leonardo DiCaprio, I would kind of put him on the list like as a candidate for Doom as well, because
Yeah.
he plays a really good villain.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, it could be fun.
Him as Doom would be great. Yeah, really like
Mhm.
it. Really like it.
And then when we were talking about Cillian Murphy, I was thinking Cillian Murphy could actually be Ghost Rider, be Johnny Blaze. Like, he's got the charisma for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you don't want to take, like, he's got such a good face for the screen. You don't want to make him like the CGI guy, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yes and no, because you can make it work. I mean, you know, like with Groot, like everybody liked Groot when he was an adult. I don't care for him too much as a kid, but I do like, you know, although it's Vin Diesel and Vin Diesel can probably act in
He's about to
a
go on
Marvel
Baby
movie.
Groot rage. You better watch it.
I stopped myself.
Like Baby Groot was okay, but like once like adult Groot is much better, to be completely honest.
I feel like you're just trying to pull it out of him at this point. Coming back on that baby.
What do we think?
Yeah,
What do we think about Teenage Groot?
I think
I
Teenage
like
Groot
Teenage
is
Groot.
really fun, man. Like I love
Yeah.
the idea of him getting on Star Lord's like nerve. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
I thought that was a really great gimmick. I loved it way more than Baby Groot.
those computer games
I-
are gonna rot your mind or rot your head.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was very,
Um,
very.
I thought
very-
they played it perfectly. And then I thought the way he interacted with Thor was great.
yeah,
You know, like he is a stubborn kid who's only in it for himself. You know, he like just wants to be a teenager or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like cuts his arm off. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm here for everybody. Like okay.
He is the handle for the Stormbreaker. It's great. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Wait, you can understand him? Yes, we took a school for Groot speak.
Yeah, that's great.
It was an elective.
It was an elective.
Yeah, oh man.
Look, I can't have you guys attacking Thor's humor and then come and bring it to me like this.
No, I think it works a lot of the time, but you know, it's kind of now it's kind of grown into just being nearly every line that comes out of his mouth is just comedy now. So it's kind of just
Yeah.
like, you know,
I think they would have done well to have like one of those Thor puts his foot down, stomps the ground, lightning strikes moments. Like, listen here, motherfuckers. Like they would have done good to reground his character in that. Like, he's not just gonna be comedy all the time. But even then, how you wouldn't have been hard to take it serious with Dad Bod Thor trying to
Yeah.
lay down the law, you know?
But you have to consider though, they kind of did flip him back in Infinity War, because I do remember Infinity War Thor being much more
Angry.
serious,
Angry.
Yeah.
angry.
I think
He needed-
he's the best Thor, where he's like he does have really serious moments, but like he's on the ship with the Guardians or whatever when they're coming back, and he's like making these jokes and stuff. Like he does have levity to him, but then he's like, you know, like
Yeah.
bring me Thanos. Like he fucking is fierce, man.
He's ready
Like,
to go. Yeah.
and people
And when
forget.
the time
Everyone talks
comes,
about.
doesn't hesitate.
Everyone talks about Captain Marvel flying through the ship, man. Thor fucking did it first. All right, Thor fucking busted through a spaceship and came out the other end of it like it was nothing, bro.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
just saying,
let
all the Captain
the-
Marvel stands need to sit
Listen.
down, all right?
Exactly. Thor let a dying star hit him fully
Yes.
to craft his weapon. What did she do to earn her powers? Oh yeah, no.
She shot an
He got-
engine.
Thor
An
earned
engine
his weapon.
exploded that had the space stone in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Captain Marvel got her powers because of the Wonder Woman movie. Okay, we all know.
Yeah.
That's why she's so strong.
Oh my god. Yeah. What was I gonna say there? Fuck, I was gonna say something I can't remember now. Keep talking. Sorry.
I mean,
That comment just threw me completely. Like it just. I had something
I'm
lined up
just
and I
saying.
just lost it.
I hear this argument about the strongest Avenger, Captain Marvel, Wanda Maximoff. Everyone forgets about Thor. The dude's a goddamn living god. Like
Yeah.
he is
Yeah.
the strongest.
Yeah.
Strongest Avenger.
He's 1,500 years old, for Christ's sake. He is literally a god.
He's huge.
Yeah.
He actually beat Thanos. You know, he put something in his chest. You know what I mean? He got past the defenses, cut off his head eventually.
Yeah.
What's everyone else done? Nothing.
True.
Nothing.
Sorry, I do
Thor
remember.
shows up.
I remember my question again. Sorry, so I can ask it now. If they did a fight in the MCU, so like the 616 version of the MCU, who wins in the fight? Does Captain Marvel or Thor?
I say 100% Thor
I think so too.
wins this fight. And like I think it's a hard fight. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like a clean, one side or the other. But I think when it comes down to it, the Odin son has enough more determination than Captain Marvel, more history, more kind of he's been fighting longer. He knows more. He's been fighting forever. He's seen it all.
Well, MCU Thor has a cheat code too. He just sets the hammer on your chest. They showed it in What If. It comes down to it. He has a cheat code. He wins. Like,
Yeah.
what is she? She's not worthy. Let's not even joke about her being worthy enough to lift anything. So she's done. She loses.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would have to say undecided on my end because we haven't seen enough of Captain Marvel to actually determine
Oh, I've
what she
seen
can
enough.
do in the MCU. That was nothing, dude. Give me a solid movie with her, give her a second chance, and get her out of that damn personality that sucks. And I guarantee you, we're gonna see a better version. But as of right now, she didn't stick the landing, and that's what really hit us hard. We wanted her to. It's not that we're mad at the character. It's just that we wanted the movie to stick properly, and it didn't.
Yep. And like,
Hashtag BB blame Brie.
I don't know what personality they're going for because like is she gonna be like a smug asshole who has burned the world down? Like Wanda Maximoff pulls that off just fine. You know what I mean? Is she gonna be someone who like cares about the team? Black Widow pulls that off just fine. Like there's not like one thing that she has to be, but like whatever they did in that movie, like I was just like, all right, fuck.
Yeah,
Like
the only thing they've given her so far is literally galactic excuses. Sorry, I was on the other side of the galaxy.
yeah, they gotta stop with that. Like are you?
But they even
I am so
did
tired.
it in Shang-Chi. Like, she's in the middle of a fucking sentence and she's like, "Oh, I gotta go. See you later." It's like,
Yeah.
Bruce has my number. Like, it's like,
Like, are you
okay,
part
bro.
of the team or not? You know?
Yeah.
Like if not, just like fuck off and then come around. Once every 6 movies. Stop this whole in between.
Yeah.
Half foot in, half foot out.
Yeah, true.
Mhm.
Whew.
And I mean, to be completely honest, like it shouldn't have been Captain Marvel as the answer. Average Joe. It should have been Adam Warlock. Like I know that they're trying to play the late game with Adam Warlock, but holy crap, that dude would have been sick. Like he would have actually stood up against Thanos. He actually got the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Like it was nuts.
Yeah.
If they were, because I don't think either of them should have showed up. Like I don't like the fact that Captain Marvel shows up in Endgame to save the day. I think it should have been all like just the
Hate it.
Avengers. You know what I mean?
Hate it.
And that's why I don't think they should have brought Adam Warlock in because he would have been it would have been the same thing where it's like that's stealing the spotlight away from these characters who we've
20
been about
movies.
for so long.
I could see that.
So like would I have liked to see Adam Warlock? Yes, but I would also like to see a better Captain Marvel. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how I feel about either or with them.
Yeah.
Bento, I wanted to ask you a question earlier and I forgot, so I want to ask it now.
Shoot.
in my mind, ahead of this Spider-Man movie, like it's already undoubtedly gonna be the best Spider-Man movie. Does it stand a chance of taking that #1 spot from
for me,
Spider-Man 2?
For me, it actually stands the chance of taking the #1 spot in the MCU. I think
In the
it's
MCU overall.
Yeah, I think this could be the best movie that the MCU has ever made. Until Doctor Strange 2 comes out, and then that will take #1. So number
Yeah,
one,
I think
number one will be Doctor Strange 2, I think, because it's going to be so fucking insane. And then number 2 will be Spider-Man, and then Endgame, Infinity War, Endgame, Infinity War is number 3. Yeah, that's my high hopes.
That's
but
where I'm thinking.
if that doesn't happen and the movies are not as good as they are intended to be, or there's something happens, or they flop, or they change something, because there were
they
some
picked the wrong ending.
there were some very late reshoots for Spider-Man 3, and I think what Drunky said earlier, where he was speaking about the fact that, like, you know, it's like, if they don't do this now, like, have they fucked up seriously? And I think maybe they weren't going to do it, and then they realized they had to. So I think they shot some very late scenes, brought Andrew over, brought Toby in, and shot a scene with all 3 of them, because they kind of felt like, shit, we actually have to do this now.
Well, I mean, hopefully they've done that, because I'd rather them do that and me be able to see through the fact that, oh, this wasn't originally supposed to be here, but they owned up to, hey, we weren't doing this right, and they added it.
Yeah.
Then them kind of stick to their guns and us be like, why did we not get that?
I think it just makes so much sense with everything that we're hearing that's coming down the line. You know, Sonyverse, Sony Spider-Verse, live action, like Madam Web, all this sort of thing. It just makes so much sense that they would intro the multiverse here and the Spider-Verse here as well. Like it would make so much, like, it would just be so bizarre if they didn't do this. If they would have a lot of explaining to do if they didn't do it. So, you know,
I mean, with the design of how Let There Be Carnage panned out, we're also probably going to see a Venomverse.
I think that's
Which,
yeah. Wouldn't be surprised. And I think that's where, if they're smart enough, I think that's where you utilize Andrew Garfield to come in as the Peter Parker / Spider-Man for that, and then you just let Tom Holland.
You let him get
around.
redemption, yeah.
Yeah.
Let Andrew get redemption with some Venom movies, with some Venom storylines.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah, I'm 100%. I agree with you. I think this Spider-Man is going to be the best we've seen out of the MCU. Obviously, I think it'll probably be the best Spider-Man, and then Doctor Strange is this like this hub that is going to connect so many dots, that so many roads that have been leading to this point up until now, that I'm actually like, I feel like they're going to be so good. I'm kind of worried for like the aftermath of these 2 movies. Like, what are they going to do after this? How are they going to keep us this engaged?
Secret Wars.
I am definitely not as on board with this is going to be the best MCU movie as you 2 are, because I just take. I think you guys are excited about who has a possibility of being in the movie, right? But I think just the possibility of who can be there shouldn't really send us to the idea that it's going to be a good movie. Look at Far From Home or whatever. Like, that was kind of a, you know, one of the, in my opinion, one of the worst MCU movies. And not like that was horrible. It's just on the lower end of it. And that's a Spider-Man movie. That's, you know, the Spider-Man writers, the Spider-Man directors. And if that's like kind of, and to me is like the best indicator of where this next one's going to be in terms of writing and directing and scope. And like, that's what kind of gives me pause is, you know, they kind of messed up bringing, not messed up, but, you know, didn't bring in Mysterio in the best way and didn't really build Spider-Man up in the MCU in the best way. So are they going to be able to deliver on that in the third one? So far, like, that as an indicator, probably not. But, you know, I hope it is, but I'm just not as optimistic as you 2.
In their defense, the whole idea behind this movie is to retcon that movie that you don't like. So,
yeah,
I mean, in their defense, the entire plot of this movie is retconning that for you. So,
yeah, I think, to be honest, what fucking makes me giddy about this movie is just the fact that we are seeing Sinister Six from the multiverse, and it's just going to be insane.
It's the Doctor Strange mix with Peter Parker and with Tom Holland's Peter Parker specifically. Like,
Alfred Molina, bro. Like, the original Doc Ock coming back like nearly 20 years later or whatever. Like, it's just, it's insane. It's insane. And then Toby, Andrew, potentially
plus
Miles, like Aunt May, everything. Like, as well, potential potential fucking rumor I heard just with regards to this movie, and it makes a lot of sense as well. So potential spoiler, but I don't think so. I think it's just a rumor at the moment. But apparently the dude who plays Ned got super jacked for the filming of this movie, and rumor has it is that he could actually be turning into the Hobgoblin. So we could have Ned. We could have Ned as the
For
Hobgoblin.
Hobgoblin?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think
that would be the right person, right? Like
it did
like
happen.
Spider-Man's friend.
I think it
It's always
happened.
gotta be his friend. Yeah, his like best friend is the Hobgoblin. But that kind of makes it weird that it's not gonna be that we don't have like Oscorp involved in all. Maybe that they get involved in this movie, but it's not Osborn's son. I always liked the way they
Harry.
have Harry doing it.
Yeah, like I think there is a comic run, if I'm not mistaken. Alex, you might be able to confirm, but I think Ned does appear in comics and he becomes a Hobgoblin at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a storyline that they go for, and the actor in real life had shed a lot of weight for the role apparently. So
He has been slimming down.
yeah, big
Like,
time.
Wouldn't it be
Big
hilarious?
time.
He like shows up at the premiere and all the
He's more
promotional stuff
jacked.
they did the promotional stuff like way long ago, and he just shows up. He's like, "What's up, everybody?
Yeah,
This is me
I'm
in the movie.
back.
You didn't see this coming."
Yeah. So
Tom
good.
Holland just looks small next to him. He's just jacked and TRT out of his mind.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, this could be a way for them to open up Hobgoblin. He does become Hobgoblin, but there was another person before that, and since they're doing this in a different perspective, they could skip that first person.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do. I think that's the way it's going. I think we're going to get Ned as a Hobgoblin, which could be
Maybe Norman. Maybe since we have why is his name slipping? William Dafoe coming back. Maybe he like throws that grenade we see. Maybe he does something like that, throws it at Ned and gets him with like a Hobgoblin
I
toxin
think
type thing.
some people are suggesting that grenade that gets thrown on the bridge is actually by Ned.
Watching like the real cut of the movie, it's like an orange glow instead of green. You know what I mean? They just edit
Yeah.
the cover. It's like,
Yeah.
you're like, what?
Yeah.
Hey, you never know.
You never know, bro. You never know. Yeah, exciting stuff.
Also, I just took a look at like Ned's like further down the line for his relatives.
Mhm.
His wife is Betty Brant. And I was like, that makes so much sense. How
Yeah.
Far From Home, they're in a relationship.
Yeah. That's so good, dude.
Oh my god.
I love it. I wonder. Let me see other rumor bits since we're talking about rumors right now.
Well, I just wanted to kind of
Go ahead.
So I'm not really excited for Spider-Man. I think it's just the second gate, and what I mean by that is Loki was supposed to be the first gate, and this Spider-Man movie is supposed to be like the second gate, and that's going to be the actual floodgate that brings in a lot of different aspects to the MCU, via live action. Whereas like in Loki, it was more so just, like a what's going on kind of situation, and then ultimately leading to like, okay, this is the birth of the multiverse, but we don't see the true like issue with causing the multiverse until we see Spider-Man. Because even if we watch What If is just iterations of the multiverse occurring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if this is effectively going to be a multiverse kind of eye opener, this is the second gate. This is the floodgate. This is what's going to allow in the multiverse of madness to flourish. So it's going to help in the multiverse of madness, and it might also help some other shows in the future that we're unaware of. So that's how I see it. Like if this does well, then they have something, and that they're going to keep the multiverse longer than you think.
Oh, definitely. I think the multiverse is around for the entire Phase 4. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I don't
We've got
see
What If. We've got What If season 2. Like that's confirmed, and that's probably
Yeah,
not going to happen
and-
for another year.
Secret Wars is what ends the multiverse, from what
Exactly.
I understand. So we got a far way out because they're gonna have to set
That's
up a
years
lot
away.
more.
That's years
Mhm.
away, bro.
Oh,
Years
it's
away.
terrible.
Yeah. So I think what'll happen is it'll kind of settle a lot, and there'll be movies that aren't really based around the multiverse, but the multiverse will still be out there. It'll still be kind of happening, but there'll be movies like Love and Thunder, I don't think is going to have any multiversal characters in it unless Loki shows up in the movie and starts kind of mentioning where he's been and talks about Kang and stuff like that. But I don't see any variants showing up in that. Actually, sorry, Jesus Christ, that movie. I just heard something about that movie. Like I think I spoke about it last week. That the Thor that we've seen, the jacked one, actually might be like a buff Thor. So like there actually could be variants. I take back everything I said about that. Sorry, I'm going backtracking off that completely. That's completely wrong.
Everyone hold Finto to that. Finto to the multiverse. No multiverse here.
No multiverse in Thor.
Clip it. Send it. Ship
it. I genuinely think that there's definitely going to be projects like maybe Moon Knight, for example. I don't think that's going to have any multiversal shit in it. Like, Eternals is... The Eternals, I think they've already confirmed for like What If Season 2 and stuff like that. So like the characters are going to start appearing. Like, so I don't know. I don't think maybe their first movie probably won't, because it's like more of a kind of origin story and telling, and the direct kind of their movie again that's being released a year, maybe a year and a half later than it should have been. So we're actually still dealing with the events that specifically follow Endgame. Yeah. So that movie's like what, like 8-9 months before what happens in Spider-Man 2. So do you know what I mean? Like that, this movie we're still catching up. We're still living in the past. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah. We're going to be at the end of 2021, and we're going to be going into the start of 2022, and we're still kind of referencing Endgame from like 2019. Like it's kind of crazy. Like, yeah, but look, sure, this is what happens. The back end of the pandemic, they're still trying to catch up. Like, it's crazy.
Tough game.
Turtles.
Yeah.
Almost there.
2 hours 40 is the runtime. Did you hear that? Second longest movie in MCU history.
Yeah, I gotta make sure not to drink anything
behind Endgame,
bro.
I know, bro. I was so stressed out the first time I watched Endgame, because I was like, I can't miss 1 second of this fucking movie. So I'm like, I'm trying not to drink too much. I'm like, I can't, like, no bathroom breaks.
Just Jaeger bomb it. You'll get best of both worlds.
Isn't it Quentin Tarantino who put like an intermission in one of his like movies now? Like he puts an intermission in the middle of it, whatever. Like, thank you.
Legend.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I nearly love like when you go to see a film the second time, and you're just like, I don't care what I missed now. I've seen it already.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember. I think it was Infinity War. I actually had to go to the bathroom, and I missed the scene the first time. Sorry, Endgame. I actually did have to go to the bathroom. I had to run out, and I missed the part where Steve sees, when they go back in time. I missed the part where Steve sees Peggy Carter. Oh. So I was like, because it was like a real kind of slowish scene leading up to that. So I was like, I'm going now. It seems like this is like the best time to go. So I ran out, and I was back like 2 minutes later, but I missed that. So then the second time I went to see it, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I haven't seen this. This has been, I haven't seen it. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that the rumor is like Batman's supposed to be like a 3-hour movie. Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I read that somewhere.
Bro, that show has 4 spin-off projects already.
What?
There's a Gotham show. Like there's going to be a spin-off show about the PD. So Gotham PD show, kind of like HBO's version of off the movie. So Pattinson's movie is branching out. So there's going to be Gotham PD TV show. There's going to be a show about the Penguin, apparently, I think. If I'm remembering this correctly, I think there's a Penguin project. And then I think as well, is there...
The Penguin hands from the early Batman movie are like disturbingly stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
Still.
The Danny DeVito ones.
Yeah, dude, they're so bad.
They're so good. I need to look this up. Sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head now.
So they've confirmed this, or this is just rumors from this movie?
There's 2 absolutely confirmed. Yeah, so there's a Penguin spin-off, and there's a Gotham PD one. Or sorry, yeah, so Gotham show and Penguin are absolutely...
Putting a lot of eggs in this Robert Pattinson Batman basket, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're seeing the Eternals and the dailies from it, so they might absolutely love it, Like, I feel like the internet is trying to hate this movie way before it releases, more so than I've seen any other release of a comic book movie. Everyone kept trying to say this thing was going to be bad and talking shit about it. Yeah. And I am so fucking pumped for this movie. It's not even funny, man. Like,
I didn't like Ben Affleck Batman, so I'm excited. I'm hoping that he does better than Ben.
Yeah, and like rumor is they're gonna take this one in more of like a detective angle, where it's like he's actually gonna be a detective Batman, which is like finally
world's greatest
finally.
That's
detective.
who he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we get like a noir, like rough Batman who is like solving a crime and solving a mystery, and not just like sitting down at a computer having Alfred do it. Like
the vigilante stuff and none of the own detective work on his own, where like he was almost like a Sherlock Holmes type detective, where he'd make these crazy connections and you'd be like, oh dang, that's cool, and then he would solve it and like.
So that's what the rumor of the script is based around, and I guess we'll see the trailer tomorrow, which is unfortunate for us, but in terms of recording the podcast.
Yeah.
But the trailer it runs it tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, like even in the first trailer. Very.
Like, do they have to? For me, the Batcave, the visuals on that they have to get me. They have to get me right away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's a billionaire, so I think if the Batcave is shit, it doesn't make any sense. You know, it's got to be full. It's got to be full of tech. It's got to be full of like a cool end, like exit or whatever, like, you know, through a waterfall or whatever. This shit, like you know the way, like even in some of like the movies or like the animated movies and stuff, like he has like nearly like a runway built through a mountain and stuff. Like it's just that's outrageous, but that's the way it should be because he's a fucking billionaire. Like, so
Yeah.
I think if the Batcave shit, it doesn't make any sense. Like.
I know there needs to be a fridge with snacks and soda. I'm tired of seeing.
He has a butler, bro. He doesn't need any of that. He doesn't serve himself.
Alfred could still get some like easiness on him.
Here's something I'm wondering. When do you think we're gonna get a Robin again? Because they kind of teased it in the trilogy with Christian Bale when they had Joseph Gordon-Levitt look like he was gonna maybe be a Robin or a Nightwing. And I doubt this one's gonna have a Robin because we haven't heard anything about that.
Well, he's very young, so this is definitely like the first movie anyway. Is definitely like a new origin, like, so. You know,
do you think we get a Robin in the near future again, or do you think they've kind of given up on that?
I think
we haven't seen that since the 90s.
There was meant to be a Nightwing movie, HBO Nightwing movie was on the cards, which I haven't heard about it. I haven't heard anything about it in a while, so I'm gonna guess that it's been probably shelved or whatever. Teen Titans, there's gonna be an actual Titans movie. Apparently, they're looking to bring Titans to the big screen. So the big question there is like, where do these movies tie into? Are these going to be tied into Pattinson's universe, or are they going to be tied into like the Flash's universe or the Snyderverse? You know, I don't know. Like it's hard to know where they're going to go. Like DC have 2 cinematic universes right now. It's ridiculous. Like, you know, I'm all about them doing like solo projects, and I think that works. But they're genuinely developing 2 cinematic universes right now, so I don't understand where it's going.
They're setting up for a crisis.
Yeah, maybe.
For me, I'd love to see them try to do a Robin again. I don't know. I think it's since we. Yeah, go ahead.
I think they should do a Robin. It's just like, I think you gotta do it like weird, like the whole I forget the name of the actor, but the one that did it with like George Clooney and stuff, right? Like he felt like a little bit too old to be Robin, right? I think you got to nail like almost like a Tom Holland type.
Chris
of
O'Donnell, wasn't
it? Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah,
like way too
old.
You
got to get him as the kid.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I don't know if you got to get him as a kid.
You have to have the kid. You have to have the introduction of Dick Grayson as like the Flying Graysons as the kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you have to have like he has to go under that, like take him under the wing, literally and figuratively.
That's why I think you got to get like a Tom Holland type of age character,
teenager,
actor, where it's like a teenager, like maybe 15 or 16. Because I'll be honest, if they put like a Robin, like a kid Robin who's like, you know, 13 or 14, like young teenager on screen, I'm fucking out, bro. Like I'm not watching that shit. Like
the only way that works,
I don't care.
The only way that works is if it's Damian. Damian's the only Robin that works with. He's actually the son of Batman, like, you know.
He's like a trained assassin.
They're not going to do that. I think they do. The only person that works with is Ben Affleck. He's the right age for that.
Yeah.
No one else works for that.
And then I think they gotta, like, you know, I think Robert Pattinson would probably be the best shot at it, where they have to establish a Batman, and then they need to have a reason to give him a Robin. They need to, like, there's a reason why this Robin would fit with his Batman. Like, what does he do for Batman's character to pull him in a different direction? Kind of like show him where he's missing in his personality, or what, like just something other than like, oh, it's fucking Robin's here, which I felt like that was like Chris O'Donnell's Robin, was like Robin's just fucking here next to Batman because that's what's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think they need a story that like teaches, you know, Batman to be kind of humanized again through Robin.
I was about to say that
Yep.
exact thing. That's the way they do it. I think this Batman will be dark. He'll be, you know, full of vengeance and all this shit. And then he ends up like meeting a young Dick Grayson who's just lost his family,
Back
and
to
maybe
humanity.
takes him in because he links with him because it's like he's lost his family. So that's kind of the thing, you know. He sees a lot of himself in Dick Grayson. So I think, you know, maybe I think we need to see a couple of movies with a solo Batman, and then we introduce a Robin. I think that's the proper way to do it. I heard as well that you know, the way there was meant to be Joe Magliano or whatever his name is, Deathstroke movie. So apparently now what they're talking about doing is they're talking about shelving him and rebooting the Deathstroke character in the Pattinson universe. So I think what's happening now is like there seems to be more projects linking into the Pattinson universe than there is.
He's so good as him, man.
I know he is. I honestly, I want to see it. Like, I want to see it so bad. Like, I want Affleck back. Like, I love the Snyderverse. I love that universe that was being built, and I think, like, they're clearly not done with it because they're using fucking Henry Cavill. They're using Barry Allen, The Flash, like all these movies that are from, or all these characters that are from that universe that Snyder built. That universe is still living on. So to me, I don't understand why they just don't continue it. Like, I just, like, you know, whatever about Warner Brothers not liking or not wanting to work with Zack Snyder, like, just continue to use the characters, but just get different directors. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a whole fucking array of like world-class directors out there that are happy to work with Warner Brothers. Like, I just don't understand what they have against DC. Like, I just don't understand. Like, if they don't want to make DC movies, like, fucking sell the company to somebody else. Like, let somebody else fucking make the movies. Like, it seems like they just want the thing to fucking fail. Makes no sense. I get so angry about it because I'm such a DC fan, and like I way prefer DC Comics to Marvel comic books. Like, way prefer them. Way better storylines, way better heroes, way better fucking villains, everything. And just if they could just get the fucking movies right. And they just have so many amazing animated movies that they just need to turn into live action. Just follow them word for word, script for script, and they would just be on to winners all day long, bro. It just makes me so sad. Makes me so sad.
I'm sorry,
Really,
Pinto.
they're
I'm sorry.
missing out.
We'll be okay, Pinto.
I'm gonna end it here, guys. See you next week.
They're always. It seems like they're always on a reboot, and it's true. It doesn't feel like they can get solid footing in anything they do.
Well, I thought they were using the Flash movie to close out the Snyderverse. I thought this was supposed to be like the send off to that, where it like closes that universe out because of what happens.
But you're still using that character unless you replace the Flash as well. Like, well, you know, you're still using him.
It's like a send off to it.
Aquaman 2
closes down. And
Aquaman 2 is coming out. That's filming right now. You know what I mean? Like, with Jason Momoa. Like, it's like, you know, I presume we're going to get another Wonder Woman movie at some point with Gal. You know what I mean? Like, these characters are still in existence. Like, the only one that we're technically losing, because there's rumors now that Henry Cavill's going to be appearing in Black Adam, and he's probably going to be around for a little while longer. Man of Steel 2 is probably quite possible, although they can't make Man of Steel 2 without Zack Snyder. But, like, these characters do seem to be hanging around.
Justice League without him.
Well, they didn't start out an intent to do that. I think that was kind of a halfway, like, pulling in somebody else at halftime, the Hail Mary pass. But yeah, I don't know. To me,
Black Adam hopefully will be good.
I think that'll be good. Anything The Rock does is fucking money, like, you know. And
Except for that rap song.
I didn't even hear it.
You need a rap song?
DC has a reboot every 2 years. Average Joe, I'm gonna ban you, bro. Stop talking about chat. Get out. That's not every 2 years. I don't know.
Every 2 weeks.
Thanks, Jim Lee, you're doing great.
Every 2 weeks.
Jim Lee's a legend.
He's all right. He's a great artist.
He is. I have actually assigned. I have assigned Superman by him. Stunning.
That's cool.
Stunning.
I love him as an artist. I don't think he's done very well running comics and DC.
Is that the current owner?
Not the current owner, but he's been a big editor there at DC before. He's also was the owner of was it Vision Comics or whatever?
Yeah. I don't know, like Jeff Johns like has been kind of missing the ball lately as well. Like, you know, he's used to be just a legend in DC, and anything you'd see Jeff Johns on the name and you'd be like, oh shit, this is going to be amazing. Like, and it's kind of just, it's all kind of falling apart, and I don't know why it's falling apart, because they just have so much great content that they can just bank off and just make easy fucking wins. Like this Injustice just released an animated movie. It's great because it's just nearly word for word like the original story, the original comic book. Like they have like all the interactions between like Green Arrow and Harley Quinn are pretty much just taken from the pages of the comic. It's fucking perfect, like, and the voice acting's great and the storyline's great. It's like, just make that into a live action movie, like, and it's gonna sell fucking billions. Like, it's ridiculous. It's such an easy win for them. I don't understand it. Like, just don't understand it.
It's the director's vision that ruins it.
I don't think so. I think it's Warner Brothers. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Like they took, it's well known that they took like David Ayer's Suicide Squad and butchered it in post production. Like that's well known. Like, he has his own director's cut that he wants to release, and apparently it's a completely different movie. Like, same thing with what we got with the Snyder Cut. Like, the Snyder Cut was a fantastic film. The Joss Cut is a joke. It's horrendous. Like, it's horrendous. Like, how they could put that out with like fucking that CGI lip on Henry Cavill. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Give me 2 weeks.
I forgot about that.
Give me 2 weeks in Photoshop. I could probably fucking do a better job than that. Like, you know what I mean? Fuck me. Do you bleed? Like, oh Jesus. And like, his lip is just like fake. Like, it's just ridiculous, bro. Oh man. But I gotta say, I'd love to try and like take a shot at making my own cut of the Justice League, because there's actually a couple of little bits that I would love to take from Joss's and put it in on the Snyder Cut, because like the Snyder Cut as itself, like, to me it's honestly it's a perfect movie. Like, I've the only thing that I don't like about the Snyder Cut is all the fucking stupid yelling for Wonder Woman. It just gets ridiculous every time she appears. Like, he just went way over the top with that. But apart from that, honestly, it's a fantastic fucking film.
That's
Bro, it is not a fantastic film.
Yes,
How
that's
a
dare
rough
you?
take.
I will
No, it
die
is.
on this hill.
Tell-
Look, the Snyder
tell
Cut
me
was a
what's
better
t-
movie,
tell
but
me
it
what's
was
worse.
barely a good movie.
Tell me why. What's so bad about the Snyder
Every
Cut?
scene in the movie was 5 minutes too long. Like, even though people hate what my man did with Justice League, there was a lot of cuts he made in that film that made a lot of sense. Like, we don't need 10 minutes of the Amazonians riding on fucking horses with a goddamn cube away from this dude in the fucking sky.
That wasn't 10 minutes, bro.
And like that,
There's so much of the Snyder Cut that you sit and watch the Snyder Cut again, I promise you, right? And just sit back and think, just
and
like,
then-
I only watched it 2 weeks ago, and I sat back and I'm just like, why did Joss take this out of the movie? Like, it makes no sense. It makes
the
zero
way
sense.
they handled the villains in the Snyder Cut was horrendous. You got confused what was going on with them. You got confused what their storyline was, who they were, which one was which at times. And like, there was no reason for both of them to be in the movie. It's just masturbation. It's literally comic book fan service masturbation with like just not giving a fuck about what an actual script is supposed to do and how it's supposed to move the thing along and how it's supposed to like move you as a viewer and tell you things. It's just like, I'm a DC fan. I just want to see this as a DC fan, which is fine, but that doesn't mean it's a good movie. Like, it just doesn't. There's just too much in it. There's too much in that movie, man. It is not a good cut.
Drunky, are you saying that they shoved Darkseid in there?
Shoved them.
Maybe
Like,
Stephen Wolf.
I never watched the cut. So
bro, no. I think the pacing in the movie is fantastic. I love it.
Oh,
love every minute. I love every
there's
fucking minute of it.
5-minute scene of the Flash, fucking like with the like the hot dog and the girl. Why is she even in the movie? The scene doesn't even need to be there. And then they're disrespecting the Flash once again. The way Snyder handles the Flash is atrocious. He just makes he does the Thor treatment to Flash. Like, he's just an absolute joke in every scene. All he's there to do is give a dumb fucking joke. Like, he's not serious. Like, it's terrible, man.
I'll agree that Ezra Miller is not the Flash. I think the guy who plays him on TV, Grant Gustin, is a better Flash for sure. But no, I think, if you know the character of the Flash well, like, Iris West is his true love. Like, and I love that scene where he first sees her. Like, he just focuses on her, and it's just brilliant. Like, And just like even just seeing him when he just starts to run and his shoes just evaporate into nothing and all, like that's fucking great.
Okay, and then
Great.
I'm gonna continue. Every scene with Aquaman until the third act is basically the same scene over and over and over, where it's like, I'm not gonna be part of this. You need to be part of this. I'm not gonna be part of this. And then some awkward Scandinavian singing. Like talk about Amazonian singing. They just got a scene for fucking 3 minutes of 3 blonde girls on a beach going, Aquaman, you need to come back. Like it's horrible. Like that scene doesn't need to be there either. And like, but literally, they shoehorn these Aquaman scenes in there just so you don't forget. Guess what? Aquaman's actually in this movie. Like he doesn't do anything until the third act, but like he's there. Like
I don't know,
is he
bro.
shirtless?
He doesn't
Is
even.
he shirtless?
He doesn't even. That's exactly why he's in the film.
Yeah,
that's the only reason
that's
why he's in the
exactly why.
movie. That's it.
Jason
that's
Momoa,
it.
man.
Sure, like the scene. I love the scene where he rescues. There's a scene where he rescues a fisherman and he brings him back to the land and he drops him into the bar, takes a bottle of whiskey and he's like, "It's on him," like, and just walks out. And he's like done a whole rescue fully clothed, but then he drinks a bottle of whiskey and takes his top off. I'm like, the thing's dredged. He's been like, he saved somebody already. He's been in the water with the top on. Why is it now being taken off? Like,
it's literally the same. Also, the same scene that he had with Bruce Wayne, like 10 minutes before that. It's the same scene, man. Oh, like, oh my god, bro. Like, stop.
He's being paid to take off his shirt. You gotta let him do it.
Yeah,
pay me
he's
to
getting
take
paid.
off that shirt. I'll do it.
That's what he's there for. He's there for the women. Like, he is an absolute sex symbol. Like, and that's all he's there for. Like, 100%. But again, you know, I don't
Did you
think.
let him kiss you on the lips?
No.
Come on, be honest.
I think you would.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Yeah.
That dude's handsome.
Yeah.
Handsome.
No, thank you.
Dude, handsome.
Handsome. And a little feminine, too. You know what I mean?
See, here's the difference: is Finto would let him kiss, he just wouldn't tell anyone about it. Alex would let him.
Well, I think if he wanted to kiss me, I think
I'd film it.
I think if he wanted to kiss me, I don't think there'd be anything I could do about it.
Yeah, I don't think you're stopping it.
Whether I want to or not, I think it's just happening. I don't know,
Breath
bro.
smells like tuna.
I'll never be able to agree. Like, I think the Snyder Cut's fantastic. Even like just the justice that Cyborg got, it was just fantastic. His story was incredible.
They did
Incredible.
They did make him a lot better, but then with them making him a lot better, then they added in the Martian Man, and like that was completely unneeded.
Left
what the
field.
fuck is he doing in there?
Wait,
like,
Martian
just derails
Manhunter?
it.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
But you know what? Do you know what though?
and he doesn't need to
For
be
like
in there.
30 seconds.
the
he
Martian-
said,
Where's Green
"I'm lying this
Lantern?"
way."
But he was there. They shot a John Stewart scene, but they Warner Brothers wouldn't allow him to put it in. So he actually had a John Stewart scene.
Okay, you know, I
take
just
that
want to
scene
say,
out.
I just want to say really quick, two of my favorite characters of all time
Yeah.
from the DC and from the MCU are both fucking green. And I don't know what these companies have against green people,
Yeah.
but like
color
I
money.
want my green in there.
What I loved about
Get my Green Lantern in.
what I absolutely loved about the Martian Manhunter, I love him as a character, and what I thought was very clever what they did with him is that they just revealed that he was there the entire time, but he was just watching. And I think it's just fantastic because now when you go back and you watch Man of Steel, you're like, oh my god, that's the Manhunter. He's just there, like right now. He's in the US government. He's just watching the whole thing. Like it's incredible. It's incredible.
It is
And
cool.
I think they
Whole
shot that scene.
Shoehorn.
I think they shot that scene because I think that he did that on purpose because I think he wants to make more, and that's kind of like, look, dropping it in there, going, I actually had this idea. He was in there the whole time, and the way it ends is he's like, you know, I'll be in touch with Bruce Wayne. He comes down, meets Bruce Wayne, and he's like, I'll be in touch. We've got some work to do or whatever, and that's kind of leading into the Justice League 2 or whatever. So.
Yeah, I love that scene when I seen Samuel Jackson and Robert Downey Jr. do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
But
look, we
again,
know
it's
that we know the comic book studios just copy each other all the time. So, you know.
It's like
What if
I think you're almost making my point for me. It's like there's a lot of stuff in there that's fan service and servicing whatever Snyder wanted, but it takes away from the overall film and it makes it not a good film.
Well,
Like all the little stuff like that just make it not a good film.
I think you need to take it to consideration as well that Snyder has just had a complete fallout with the company, gets given the chance to actually make his movie, so he needs to make a 4-hour cut because he probably knows that I'm not going to get a chance to make another movie. So now it's like, I gotta fucking pack everything in here. I gotta tell everybody what I wanted. This is my love letter. This is it. It's done. Like, I gotta send it off.
That's not fair though. Like,
Well,
every
his
other
situation
art form
wasn't
style,
fair.
If like you talk about music, you talk about books, like the work speaks for itself. If you want answer, it's in the work. And this is something I love about David Finch when he talks about this stuff. He's like, hey man, like all the answers are in the film. And so like the film is what matters. It doesn't matter what happened behind the scenes. It doesn't matter what they took out of the film as a studio. What matters to me is what ends up in the film. And I think Snyder fails there, man. I think all of his movies are just too bloated with too much nonsense because he just wants to get it in there, and he's not a good editor. He doesn't know what to take out, and that's a problem with him throughout all of his films. And I'm sorry.
No. Snyder. It's Snyder as a person. You either love him or you hate him, and there's no
I
in
love
between.
him as a person.
There's no in between. I don't give a fuck what he's like as a person. I just like his work. That's it. I just feel so sorry. I feel so sorry for him. Like after everything that happened to him, like his daughter dying and everything, like and then they just butcher his film on him. So I thought it was complete justice for him. Like he gets to fucking put out his vision the way he wanted it, and it's a massive success. And Warner Brothers have turned around only recently and finally admitted that the movie was a success. One of the execs mentioned it in a meeting or something. It was the first positive thing anyone said about the release since it came out. It's a fucking it's one of the highest rated comic book movies of all time. 8.4 on IMDb. It's like sitting in the top 3, I think, of all time comic book
I don't
movies.
trust comic book fans at IMDb, bro. You
I
can't trust them.
don't know, when there's like when there's millions of votes and it's the public who vote. It's not critics. It's not anything like that. It's literally the public. So I trust that more than fucking Rotten Tomatoes, where it's a bunch of critics who aren't even comic book fans go in and see a movie and it's like, oh, I didn't understand that. That makes no sense. It's fucking shit. Like,
I don't trust any of them, man. The public made NSYNC huge and they were terrible. Critics made all these other stuff. Like, critics sucks and so does the public. I just go with myself here. I'll shoot. And you three fellas. That's it. Everyone else has shitty opinions.
Wait, are we a Backstreet Crew?
If you want to be. I'm from Orlando. I know people here, Like, this is Point Band City.
Well, if we're shitting on NSYNC, we got to be Backstreet at least.
We'll be 98 degrees. Come on now.
All right, I'm down.
There's 4 of us. It makes sense.
I'm totally down with that.
I will do the choreography.
Look at Average Joe gameplay. Has anyone talked about how smart Average Joe gameplay is here? Has anyone ever said how great his takes and opinions are?
nah, he's he's literally just trolling.
They only voted because the first one was shit too. They voted up because they felt bad for Snyder. What a great take.
It's a Alex, will you please watch this cut of the movie and you can finally
will.
fucking give your opinion on it?
All right.
Do watch it.
Because the
Actually,
only thing I'm hearing.
Rewatch the Joss cut first and then watch the Snyder cut. Like
Oh, I was
you can
thinking of
spread
playing
you can spread it out.
Well, I have 2 monitors. I can play them side by side.
No, don't do that. Do not do that.
No, it'd probably ruin it.
No, it'd be terrible. They're completely different films. Like you can't play it at any time or anything. The entire structure of the films are different. The intros are completely different. Like they're different movies. Like completely.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
But I mean, from what I've heard from Drunky, it sounds like it's exactly what he said. It's a DC fans' wet dream. A lot of it is just them being so thirsty for a live action, like villain fest and like intros and like basically just a clusterfuck of like nonsense. But because they're in the film, it works. And
that's a great review right there. That's the line. A clusterfuck of nonsense. A Zack Snyder film.
And I'm excited to now watch it.
Yeah, you gotta watch it, bro. You really do.
Yeah.
I just it's been out a while now. You gotta see it, dude.
I feel like Finto like gets off this cast and like just fucking is like cursing me out like this dumb motherfucker.
There's nothing. There's nothing you could say to change my mind, bro. Like honestly, I sat on the couch behind me right there with my girlfriend like 2 weeks ago, and we watched the movie, and the two of us were just in awe at how great it is. Like honestly, it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
I feel like you would be brooding like Lex Luthor. You'd be sitting in that couch and just like How do I defeat this drunkie?
There's no need to defeat. No need.
Yeah, he already knows how to beat me. You like fucking.
Listen,
you're
yeah,
wrong. I don't care.
This is the tactics.
Well, if it's just like, oh well, we all have shitty takes sometimes, drunkie. Keep loving this movie.
Yeah, I don't know why DC haven't stepped up their game. It just makes no sense to me. I could make better DC movies, and I've never made a movie in my life. That is a fucking stone cold fact. I can't make sense of it. I don't know.
I feel like it's like it's not that they're not stepping up their game. It's just that there's too many people in Warner Brothers and DC trying to step up their game at the same time. Like too many people trying to be the one who redeems and saves the DC universe in a movie, and so you just get this like huge, so many different opinions on what needs to be taken out of the film, and you never get like a real singular vision from somebody.
Well, like, if you think about DC movies as just, like before it's really just Batman, right? Like DC movies is kind of Batman for a long time. And like, the Christopher Nolan run was legendary. Like all three of those movies are legendary. DC are massive box office hit, making billions of dollars and everything. Then they try and launch a cinematic universe, and they do it wrong. They kind of jump straight into some big storytelling without kind of going through origins. A lot of people probably don't know who the Flash is. A lot of people don't know who Aquaman is. All this sort of shit. And then instead of them just kind of bailing on this idea, and I think this is what they're trying to do now. So I have really high hopes for the future, but I think they really tried too hard to stick it, and it's just not working. Like Wonder Woman 2 is one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. I nearly turned it off.
I did turn it off.
At that mall scene at the start, like my girlfriend is a gigantic Wonder Woman fan, so I turned to her and I just like, I don't think I could watch this film. Like it's honestly terrible. And she's shaking her head. She was like genuinely like upset at how bad it was. And I was like, look, we're just gonna have to stick through this. We're gonna have to stick it. And we stuck it, and it was awful. It was so bad.
I made it to like them escaping on the water raft or whatever the hell they were doing, and I couldn't watch it anymore. I was like, this is such a bad movie.
So bad. So bad. And
do you remember the scene where they're on the highway and she's like jumping and catching someone, and you can tell it's a fucking mannequin? Like, like full in the shot, you're like, that's not a real person. Like, what is this?
Oh, bro, like I've blocked out so much of that movie. It was just so bad. I don't even know what you're talking about.
That Mahler guy, drunkie, that I told you I watched his reviews. He's convinced me that Gal Gadot or whatever her name is the Brie Larson of the DC universe.
I like
so bad.
I like her when she's not in the Snyder Cut, and Alex, this will make sense to you soon. Every time she goes into battle, Snyder has these weird like war cries in the background of like Amazon screaming and stuff, and like they slow motion her and stuff, and it's just ridiculous. But when in her other scenes, I thought she was great. I really liked her in Batman vs Superman as well. Like her kind of intro was great, like, and then her first movie was fantastic. So I don't know, bro. Like it's like when I think about it, it's like Man of Steel 1 for me was a great film. I thought it was really good. Christopher Nolan was on as an EP, and it was a serious movie at the time, and I thought Henry Cavill is, to this day, I still think Henry Cavill is the best Superman that we've ever had. I think he's incredible. He's perfect for the role. And that first movie is fantastic. I only watched it a couple of weeks ago. Came up on Netflix here in Ireland, and had to rewatch it. It's just fantastic. But then it's like when they started the Justice League and trying to bring stuff together, Batman versus Superman, it just was too soon. Like you had one Henry Cavill movie, and then you move into Batman versus Superman. It was like just way too quick, way too quick. They should have established the new Batman first, maybe done Man of Steel 2, and then done Batman versus Superman. Do you know what I mean? It's like, there's like, during the promos of that movie, they had like, Jesse Ellenberger coming out, and he's like saying that like, it's like, oh, no one wants to see fucking, Bruce Wayne fighting the Batman, or like, Clark Kent taking on the Batman, and it's like, obviously everyone does want to see it, but it's like, we don't know this Bruce Wayne, and we've only seen this Superman for one movie as well. It was just way too rushed. And
I think they dropped the ball on Lex Luthor casting too, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't. I hated that Lex Luthor as well. Awful. But the movie is like entertaining to watch. I love Wonder Woman in it. I think A lot of the Superman scenes are great. Like him and Lois, like they have great scenes in it and everything, and it's really good. But it's just I just can't get over a couple of things in that. Like the Lex Luthor really annoyed me, and the whole Martha scene is so stupid, and it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch, but
Yeah.
if you take out, I watched the ultimate cut of that film. It's like a 3.5 hour cut of that movie, and if you take out, and I know it's ridiculous to say this, but if you take out Lex and you take out the Martha scene, it's actually a very good film. And I know they're two big parts that you can't ignore. You can't like remove them from the film, but I try and just blank them out, and I just think of the movie as a whole without those bits in it. And for me, it's enjoyable. Like I can watch it and like it. But
You know why they can't remove him? Because they shoved it in your fucking face, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, it was very
was so
very
annoying.
very forced. It just wasn't good at all. Like I love like Lawrence Fishburne in the DC universe is great. I love him as the editor and all. Like I just like there's just so much about it that I like. It's just such a shame that it wasn't accepted better. And I just think if they did it in a different order, give Affleck his own film, let him maybe do a showdown with Deathstroke, you know, humanize Batman, put him on the street level, then you introduce Superman, and you know they butt their heads then, because like, you know, Batman would definitely when he saw someone like Superman would be like, how do we stop this guy? How do we stop him from potentially destroying the Earth? Like, you know, it makes sense. Like that's something that Bruce Wayne is known for. He has a deterrent against all of his friends. Like he knows how to take down a Lantern. He knows how to take down every fucking hero. Like, because that's what he does. Like Batman always has to have the what if. Like,
Even against himself.
yeah, I don't know. He kind of doesn't his rule of like no killing and all. That's what kind of keeps him grounded. You know, that keeps him it keeps him in check. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I just think they kind of like it's not Affleck's fault. I just think they just kind of messed up the order of the releases of stuff. If they gave Affleck his own film first, I think you would have really established him as a Batman. You would have really loved him as Bruce, and you would have really got to know him as the Bat, like, and then you go into Batman versus Superman and you see him kind of seeing Metropolis get destroyed and Superman coming in, and then he kind of goes into his little, like, his dark spiral, like, and kind of has to take shit into his own hands. It just works so good, like, so good. They were way too slow with it. Or sorry, way too quick. They needed to slow the fuck down. But again, they just wanted to compete with Marvel, and it's the wrong business idea. Like, you know, Marvel took them 10 years to get to where they're like doing Infinity War and all this sort of stuff, like, and doing the big like crossovers and stuff. That took them 10 years to make all that. So, you know, DC are coming in and trying to do it in half the time with half the characters and think it's going to be a success. Like, no, it's not going to work. Like, but again, I don't really blame Snyder for that. I just think that's Warner Brothers fucking shit up and just doing stuff wrong. Like,
I mean, it's going to take some time. I mean, the Suicide Squad did pretty good, right?
yeah, that was. I'd call that film a success for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, big.
So maybe they'll take from that point and understand what makes a good formula for DC, whether it's, you know, like, although those are villains acting as heroes, they can still take that formula and mold it a little bit and make it into something that could be useful for an actual hero in the DC comics.
Well, I think what's going to happen is James Gunn, once he finishes up with Guardians, is going back to DC. He's going to live at DC for a while. You know, he's talking about doing some more kind of villain style movies, like where he'll take like one or two villains and do a movie around them. And I don't know if he's going to be involved in any of the like Superman stuff going forward or anything like that, but like I think he's going to be making DC his new home. Like, he's leaving Marvel after Guardians 3. Like, he's done. So looks like Gunn's going to DC. I think they're planning on using, like, he's going to be like the Feige of DC or something, like, you know, they're going
I
to.
thought that was supposed to be what's his face?
Snyder.
No, the
Whedon?
guy who did Star Wars.
Ryan?
Oh,
Johnson?
J.J. Abrams?
Yeah, J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams is coming over to DC. They hired him to be like the overall like producer type of thing for a new DC universe.
I know what's JJ doing? He's doing the new Superman, right? He's doing the reboot.
He's
of
not
Superman.
directing it though. Like he's the producer on it because he's taking that Kevin Feige role where he's like building a bigger universe for them.
Yeah, if that's true, I don't know how I feel about that, because I think his first idea is to do a race change on Clark Kent and turn him into a black Superman, which is,
That's fine.
I don't know, bro,
Who,
because I know
who
like
cares?
they
Like,
tried to get
who cares?
they were trying to get what's his name, Michael B. Jordan to star in it, and he said he wouldn't do it, and he's now developing his own Superman show for HBO Max, and it's going to be about one of the other, like, there's an actual black Superman, and he's like, I want to play the actual black Superman. I don't want to be doing a race bend on Clark Kent.
I was talking about Michael B. Jordan as, Superman.
Oh fuck.
But if this is something different, then like I don't know what to expect for it. But like with Michael B. Jordan, I'm all for it.
Oh yeah. No, I want him to do it, and I respect the fact that he wants to do the proper content, like the actual character, rather than just cashing in on a race bend on Clark Kent, just because that seems to be happening across the board now. Like, it's like they're clearly doing that to kind of cash in on something like.
And like I understand, like it's okay to be diverse, like just because they were a certain color in the comics doesn't mean they can't be a certain color on film or on a show. They're still the same person. It's the personality that matters most.
I mean, I think it depends on the character, right? And especially with like Superman, it's to me a thing where it's really, really difficult to race swap Superman, because he is a kid that grows up in rural Kansas, or like in the Midwest, right?
Yeah.
And I think that a black kid being raised in that situation has a much, much different experience than a Clark Kent was as a white kid, and so he ends up being a completely different person coming out of Smallville, with his completely wildly different experiences, because it's cultural. It's not about race; it's culture, and what's his cultural experience being a black kid raised in Smallville, and now are they able to explore that or not in a film? I don't know, but it's like once they start doing that, like you really got to dig into it and not just do the race swap for the sake of it, but really dig into like what would be the actual implications of that, of their lived experiences.
Yeah.
I agree with that, because it has to set properly, and you make a very good point, Drunky. Like if they just threw in a black Superman and had the same kind of upbringing, that would feel weird. Like it would. I mean, you could attempt it, but it wouldn't set the same way, because as it is, culture makes a difference in terms of like how you're raised.
What worries me about the whole project is the fact that they actually did go to Michael B. Jordan and he turned it down because he said it just didn't work for him. And for me, that's alarm bells, because he's such a giant Superman fan, to the fact where he's gone and now is looking to do his own Superman project, because he wants so badly to do that, but he's going to do it the way he thinks is right. So to me, it sounds like what they're pitching for kind of script ideas or whatever just doesn't seem like it's them going in the right direction. So that's what kind of scares me about it. And if this was like a Marvel project that was doing this, I'd be like saying to myself, look, one bad movie, who the fuck cares? Like, you know what I mean? But this is DC, for Christ's sake. Like, they've got so many people and so many projects against them already. Like, the last thing they need to do now is butcher fucking Superman. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's the death of the fucking the studio. Like, yeah, again. Well, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, the Brandon Roth Jesus Superman was just so bad. Like, I love Brandon Roth, but like, no, that movie was a complete failure. Like, it was horrendous. But yeah, like, Superman is one of the main DC titles, like, and if they butcher another reboot of Superman, like, where the fuck are they after that? And then if they do him as a black guy and it's a failure, the movie's shit, it's like, what, do they go back to him being a white guy? It's like, are they going to put their hands up and say, oh, this failed because he was black? Like, it's not going to fail for that reason. But, like, you're in very dangerous waters, like, That
would be
very dangerous, because now if you flip back to just going, oh shit, we'll reboot again and we'll go with a white guy again, like, it's like, are they admitting fault because of that? Like, it's a gamble, bro. I don't know why they're doing it at all, to be honest. No, it's dangerous.
I agree.
Yeah.
They're rudderless, man. They are a rudderless franchise over there.
Yeah, they
Old
really are.
strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it pans out.
Exactly. I heard a rumor that George Clooney is going to be directing an episode of Moon Knight.
Has he directed before?
I think he has, and I think he's a pretty big, like, I think he's a big fan of like Moon Knight or something. He has some sort of history or something, and like apparently there's people saying there's a rumor that this is going to happen, and you know, him and Oscar Isaac have a good relationship, and apparently they'll work very well together. Bill Murray is rumored to be part of Ant-Man 3 as well. That's another thing I heard this week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hank Pym's dad, right? Come on now. That'd be like we haven't met Pym's dad.
Yeah.
We're not Hank Pym. What's his face?
Scott
The main
Lang.
Oh,
character.
Scott's dad.
That's exactly.
Yeah, Scott's dad.
I think that's exactly the role that
That'll be
he's.
good.
They're talking
That'd be
about for him.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Bill
great, man.
Murray in the MCU.
Rumors as well that Gary Oldman has been in talks with the MCU. Who would you like to see him play?
For the MCU?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So there's talks of him coming in. Like Gary Oldman, like is god tier actor in my opinion. Like he's phenomenal. Like so.
I think Gary Oldman would be brought in to play a government official in a Captain America movie. A kind of statesman. I don't know if like British or American. He can do both. But I think he comes in as like just a absolute leader, like a government official. He's, you know, the senator. He's the president. Something that's in charge of like, you know, whatever comes for sword, shield, whatever. Like he's a entity kind of guy.
Here's one I just was popped into my head. I don't know really how well it would work, but 616 Norman Osborn.
I like that.
That could work.
Yeah.
I like that. I was gonna say I kind of wanted to see him in a villain role. I love when he plays villains.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you guys watch Leon the Professional?
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Finto, you got to watch that.
What's it called?
Yeah,
Say it
I've
again?
seen that. It's a real old movie.
1994, Leon the Professional.
Oh, I have. Sorry, I have.
Yeah.
I have seen it. That's with
Natalie
Natalie Portman. She's like 10 years old in it or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have seen that. Sorry, I apologize. I have. That's a
We're like-
fantastic film.
As a
Amazing.
kid, I loved her in that, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so awesome. As like a 35-year-old man, I'm like, why the fuck are they sexualizing this child in this fucking
Yeah, I was
movie?
gonna-
The fuck is this?
I haven't watched it in about 10 years. I must throw
Oh,
it on
it's
again.
rough, man.
Yeah,
It's
I must
rough.
throw it on again
Yeah.
just for the
Doesn't hold
laugh.
up, does it, Drunky?
No, no.
I just really love all the scenes with Gary Oldman in it. It just so fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like he just plays that role perfectly.
Yeah.
Villain for Gary Oldman.
Yeah, I feel like I like the Osborn. Honestly, that's you saying that. That's the only other person in my mind I would accept other than Defoe.
Well, like I think Defoe will be in it, but Defoe is playing like the Sonyverse version, and he's not going to be in it like forever. He's kind of just cameoing. So I think what happens is after the whole events of the movie, I think Tom goes and looks for the 616 version of Norman Osborn, looks him up, he's a real person in the 616, ends up trying to meet up with him, and then boom, it's Gary Oldman or somebody else. I think it'd be pretty sweet. And then it turns out like he's not evil, he's a good guy. So like Peter's caught him before the change, like, you know. Oh, fantastic. You know, and then he kind of takes over as
good.
like money bags and, you know, the new Tony Stark technically, because he's, you know, the fucking the tech whiz and all that sort of shit, and Oscorp comes into it then, but they're not like an evil corp. So I don't know, it's an interesting little twist, and it sounds like something that this kind of version of Spider-Man would do, you know, like these movies. Did you hear as well? Actually, there was an interview yesterday with Tom Holland, and he basically said in the interview that he sees that this movie could actually be like the end of his run as Spider-Man. He was kind of talking about how he could potentially see himself like taking a step back from the role for a while and blah blah blah. And I think that, I don't know if this is him kind of maybe trying to hint at the fact that after the events of these movies that maybe something happens to his character, and then could be a reason or explanation to how he pops up in Sony in like a year's time or something like that, or maybe more. But yeah, a lot of people, like I've
I
seen
hope
it.
that's not the case.
I've seen a lot of people talk about it on Twitter and stuff like that, and in different podcasts and stuff. And there's a lot of fans are kind of freaking out now, thinking that he's going to step away. Like, imagine they brought Andrew back.
There's been so much time to like speculate on this movie. Like, I don't even know what's what anymore, bro. I'm so
know.
backwards on like what's a good rumor, what's a bad rumor.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, oh, we need this movie to come out, bro. We need it to come out.
We do.
Pinto needs to take down his red yarn board
Yeah,
once and for all.
for sure. Like, Eternals is like 2.5 weeks away.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Real
crazy.
fast.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Gotta get our tickets soon.
Yeah, I think it's out on the 5th, right? Which is like
Third, I believe.
third, yeah. So like that's a Wednesday. So I'm gonna try and see it on launch day, so that then that week on the podcast we can talk about it like 2 days
Is it a
later.
Wednesday?
It's a Thursday. The 3rd of November is a Wednesday. Yeah, it's midweek. It's a midweek release. So
Yeah.
Oh, but you were right though. It is on the 5th though.
it is
it's not on
5th.
the 5th.
Sorry, I do remember.
Yeah.
I do remember hearing the 5th somewhere.
Okay, because I got tickets for the 4th, and I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna be late.
Oh, nice. So if you got tickets for the 4th, you're looking good.
I guess,
Yeah, I'm hoping I could see it before the podcast that week, because it'd be great to kind of just have a little freak out stream where we talk about it and just like kind of nerd over it.
No, don't worry.
Oh,
You still
yeah,
have
I
to
can
come
buy
back.
tickets now.
You still have to come back and talk about Venom.
But
Sucks to suck, nerd.
what date? I'm just gonna give a quick 5-minute review of how much I hate that fucking movie. Like, we're not gonna be talking about it for long on a podcast again, because we've technically done 2 podcasts on it already. So I don't really want to do another one. What date can you buy for Drunky?
November 4th, the Thursday.
Damn.
Mhm.
Oh man.
Let's all do a spoiler heavy Friday 5th podcast for Eternals.
I'm excited, baby.
I can get tickets. I can get tickets for the 5th, but I can't get tickets. That's weird. Won't let me click on the 4th. Why?
Ooh, this is
Call
tough.
on the
My
5th
lady
and
works
go
at
before
night
the
now.
podcast.
Bro.
Yeah, I mean it's possible that like you missed out on tickets for the 4th. Is it that crazy?
Yeah.
I've seen a few headlines, and I'm not sure how accurate they are, but some headlines are saying that some theaters are already getting sold out.
Yeah, I'd well believe it. There's a message
I mean-
here that says like book tickets before November 7th to get. Oh no, sorry, that's for an exclusive poster. Never mind.
I would just be worried about getting good seats too, you know?
hmm
I think November 5th is the first day that it's out here, and what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to strategically try this day. I'm going to try and finish work early, and I'm going to try and go see it before the podcast. That is my mission that day. I really want to see this on launch day in Ireland, because I don't want any fucking spoilers for this movie. This is one this is one I care about. I don't want to see anything ruined for me on the internet, which I know is going to be just fucking packed the day of release, like packed.
Now I know that we're set for 2:00. 2:00 my time, 5:00 Eastern. But if you need us to push it a little bit, just so that you can make it,
Well, if
that
might work for me. Like, and if that works for you guys, we could
Even
potentially.
if we gotta do like a Saturday cast, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, true. We could push the cast today.
Yep.
Like, ideally for me, yeah, like, because like for me, if I was to start like 7 p.m. Eastern, for me is like midnight here, so I wouldn't even mind starting a podcast at midnight my time. Like, doesn't bother me at
Yeah.
all. So yeah,
Sure.
I could potentially go see it, and then we just start the podcast a little late. Yeah, that works. That works absolutely.
Whenever works, buddy. We want to make sure that we all see it.
Oh, dude, yeah, it'd be just great to, I think that one would be really good for the YouTube as well if we can get something up on release day. I think it'd be really good, like, to have something up, like, for sure.
Yeah, I literally just had to hand my phone to Michelle so she could put in our card information to get the tickets.
Oh, yeah.
My
I got my seats now. I got my seats
Let's
now.
go,
preferred seats
boys.
are already gone.
Booking the
My
seats
seats are
live.
already gone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Booking
I'm in the
seats
middle,
live.
baby. I'm in the middle of the middle.
I'm at 12 and 13. I'm on just one seat over from the middle, but that's gonna be Michelle's,
Perfect.
not mine.
Perfect. There's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
I got
Mine's
all
a
the way in the
16.
back in the middle, but
Yeah.
I got 4 seats wide, so it's like
man.
nice and comfy.
Yeah.
I do 6 p.m. on the 4th. is
I
when I'm
went
seeing it.
I went to try and book tickets for Venom tomorrow, and there's a couple of seats left in the back row, but they're kind of to the right. But some asshole, because like in our cinema, I don't know if this is the same for you guys, but they have social
Seat in between.
they have social distancing, like so no one could sit in front of you, behind you, to your left or right. So some fucking asshole bought one seat in the middle. So in doing that, he blocked seats to his left and right, and the last pair of seats in the back row, I can't buy them because this guy bought a seat like 2 over, and he blocked it. Like, I'm like, no,
jerk.
Yeah,
Honestly,
we don't do that anymore.
they should be paying you to go see that movie at this point.
I know. I don't want to see it, but I feel I have to, and I don't want to break the superhero streak in the cinema. I've seen every superhero movie in the cinema since like the MCU began, like way before. Like I was watching all the Spider-Mans and X-Men.
Go see Snyder Cut in the movie theater. Get out of here.
Well, I didn't because it wasn't possible. I would if it was released. It was actually released in some theaters in the US. It wasn't released anywhere in the EU, unfortunately. But there was a small release for it in the US apparently. Couple of small screenings. But yeah, I've seen all the X-Men movies, all the fucking Fantastic Four movies. I've seen everything, like every fucking superhero movie since I was about 10 years old. I've seen in the cinema, so I'm not breaking it. The streak will continue.
We all got
that sucks though, Finto.
I just
for Venom.
It hurts that I have to go see a movie that I know is going to be shit, and I have to pay like big, like top dollar to go see it as well.
Here's the thing, though, Finto. Out of all the movies that are going to be coming out like in this time period, I'm happy that that's the one that you got delayed, and we're not going to have to wait for. Dude, if it had been any of these other movies, dude,
I'd be freaking out right now if I had to, like, if something like this happened with Spider-Man or anything else.
Or anything,
Jesus Christ, bro, I'd be freaking out. Hook tried to eat Drunky's cam. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Look at Hook looking at us. He's like, "What are you looking at?"
I did nothing.
Huck has been.
You saw nothing.
He's like, say something.
Yeah, he's like, "Come at me, I dare you."
if it wasn't for Huck, Drunky would have went full rage earlier. Huck brought Drunky.
Yeah, Huck was like the comfort dog of the day.
He knows. He's my service dog. He just comes in when he starts feeling my rage building. Like leans in, he's like, "Dad, chill.
Dad, it's not worth it."
Guys, we're about to hit 3 hours. I think we're good. I think we.
I looked up next week. We need to be doing Black Panther.
Yes, great movie.
And I already forgot the one after that. It was Black Panther and Ragnarok. That's what it was.
That's a good double. That's a good duo.
Yeah,
that's a good duo
nice
right
double
there.
Feature.
Yeah, that's a good duo right there.
We have that for next week. Keep your eyes out for any rumors. If you're watching our video on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, follow. Continue any of the conversation you may agree with or don't agree with in the comments below. If you don't,
I don't want to hear that.
I don't want to hear.
Listen, if you don't think Drunky's right, if you think Zack Snyder is godsend for the Justice League, let him know in the comments.
There will only
Stand your ground.
There will only be positive comments in the chat below on YouTube about Zack Snyder. Any negative comments, I'm just going to delete them. So don't even try it.
Oh, here we go. Get ready.
Yeah.
Drunky's the first one leaving a comment.
I challenge you all. Watch me delete your comments. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being on the cast. As always, dudes. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. If I'm not talking to you again, peace out, boys.
Bye,
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.